Chapter 2686. This, Sky Edge sect leader's angry and resentful voice was still echoing in the sky. Other than the 7 million floating corpses, there were no disciples of Sky Edge sect around Dragon Peak. Looking at the floating corpses on Dragon Peak, everyone shuddered. An elder of Sky Edge sect had snatched the Abyss Seed from Dragon Palace and killed a disciple of Dragon Palace. In the end, Sky Edge sect had to pay such a heavy price. How did the forces of Dragon Palace's Dragon King become so strong? On the left, the Moon Sect's Beichuan clan and the other forces watched this scene with their mouths agape. They knew a little about Dragon Palace's strength, but what they had shown today had shocked them. Sect Leader Yu, Dragon Peak seems to be stronger than before. It's even more powerful now. A Lao Zu from Ancient God Dynasty whispered to Sect Leader Yu and the rest. Sect Leader Yu and the rest nodded. They could sense the changes in Dragon Peak. The Array Master in Dragon Palace must have made a breakthrough. That's why he can go against Sky Edge sect. A Lao Zu from Yu Dynasty whispered, Dragon Palace is the pinnacle of the Demon Islands. Sky Edge sect was defeated and Nine Cloud sect is definitely not a match for Dragon Palace. Sect Leader Yu lamented. To be invincible on the Demon Islands, Dragon Palace's strength was indeed terrifying. Let's pay them a visit, said the two ancestors of the continent of the Nine Clouds, glancing at each other. After witnessing Dragon Palace's terrifying strength, Nine Clouds sect had to be on good terms with Dragon Palace to avoid future conflicts. Otherwise, they might learn from Sky Edge's mistakes. They looked at the surrounding corpses of Sky Edge sect. There were over 18,000 Divine Kings. Moreover, they recognized that there were 2 corpses of Sky Edge elders. In addition to the 5 that had gone missing, there were a total of 7. That was almost half of Sky Edge's peak combat strength. How terrifying! The Lao Zu from Sky-Breaking sect exclaimed in shock. When he saw Lao Zu from Nine Clouds sect flying over, he immediately followed behind. Dragon Palace's strength is really extraordinary. Congratulations on defeating Sky Edge sect. Lao Zu from Nine Clouds sect flew over and congratulated Wang Xian. Thank you very much, cultivators of the continent of the Nine Clouds. The Dragon Palace has no intention of becoming enemies with anyone. Wang Xian cupped his hands at the Lao Zu of the Nine Heavens and replied politely. After all, both of them were peak undying God King existences. They deserve to be treated as equals by Dragon Palace. Congratulations, Dragon King. Congratulations to the Dragon Palace. In the future, if the Demon Island or the Dragon Palace needs anything, our Duantian Heavens will definitely support you. The sect leader and progenitor of the Heaven-Shattering sect flew over and greeted respectfully. The Broken Heaven sect was weaker than Nine Cloud Cliff, so they had to be humble in front of the Dragon Palace. Thank you. Everyone, we need to settle things here first before heading to the center of the Devil Island. Perhaps in the future, we will become neighbors. In the future, our Dragon Palace will also protect the Devil Island together with everyone. Wang Xian said with a smile. Then we shall not disturb the Dragon King. The experts of the Nine Clouds sect and the Sky-Shattering sect were startled, but they quickly nodded. Wang Xian's meaning was clear. He was telling them that they were going to Tianya's territory and occupy it. The Dragon Palace would replace the World Edge sections. As for the people from the World Edge sect, they had probably fled to other places. Otherwise, given the strength of the Dragon Palace, they wouldn't be able to resist. Congratulations to the Dragon Palace. Congratulations to the Dragon King. Congratulations, Dragon King. In the surrounding area, the experts of the various forces shouted in a flattering manner. They had witnessed the crushing defeat of the World Edge sect. In the future, when the Dragon Palace settled on the Devil Island, they naturally had to lick their boots. Congratulations, Dragon King. Is the Dragon Palace going to settle on the Devil Island in the future? The experts from the Moon Sect, Beichuan Sect, Dragon Python Group, and Ancient God Dynasty exchanged glances before flying towards the Dragon Peak. Yes, we are going to occupy the territory of the World Edge. Wang Xian nodded his head. That's even better. In the future, our forces will be much closer to the territory of the Dragon Palace. The Moon Sect leader and the rest replied with smiles. All right, Our dragon palace will be heading to the center of the Devil Island immediately. Wang Xian said, All right, we will rush back immediately. The Moon Sect leader and the rest of the experts replied immediately, Let's go. Wang Xian looked around and collected all the corpses. He flew to the command platform and spoke to the Sky Array. Yes, Dragon King. Sky Array nodded his head with a smile. The Dragon Peak was activated and flew towards the center of the Devil Island. All the forces behind watched in bewilderment as the towering Dragon Peak gradually flew into the distance. Who would have thought that an external force, the Dragon Palace, would step onto the stage of the Devil Island today? All the experts could not help but sigh. Inform all the disciples of the Nine Clouds sect not to offend anyone from the Dragon Palace in the future. The two old men from the Nine Clouds sect ordered the sect leader after a moment of silence. The strength of the Dragon Palace was already terrifying. Now that they had obtained the ultimate treasure of the world's edge, Dragon King, other than the corpses, the biggest reward this time is the world's edge ruler. On the Dragon Peak, Sky Array looked at the world's edge ruler with a smile as he spoke to Wang Xian. Everyone from the Sky Edge sect returned to their own holy kingdom instantly. Naturally, they could not bring the world's edge ruler with them. Wang Xian looked over. With a swift move, he landed on the horizon ruler. At the last moment, the sect leader and two elders of the Sky Edge sect sacrificed themselves, causing the world's edge ruler to explode with immense power. Wang Xian came to the front of the world's edge ruler and sized it up. The wind attribute divine tool possessed incomparably powerful might. The ultimate treasure of the Sky Edge sect. The world's edge ruler is a pinnacle God King treasure. With 3 Ninth Order God King realm experts controlling it, it can explode with the strength of a pinnacle undying God King. It's an extraordinary weapon of war. Sky Array came to the world's edge ruler. This world's edge ruler has intelligence and is loyal to the Sky Edge sect. I need to modify it. I'll leave it to you. With this world's edge ruler, the strength of the Dragon Palace will increase significantly. Wang Xian said. With 3 Ninth Order God King realm experts controlling the world's edge ruler, they could explode with the strength of a pinnacle undying God King. This was equivalent to adding 7 Ninth Order God King realm experts to the Dragon Palace. Other than the world's edge ruler, there are many other rewards. Wang Xian murmured. 7 elders' corpses, 4 Ninth Order God King realm experts' God Kingdoms, 2 Ninth Order God King realm abyssal species corpses. This time, the Dragon Palace could increase by 11 Ninth Order God King realm experts. The other cultivation realms could also increase by a lot. With such strength, the Dragon Palace can definitely gain a foothold on the Demon Islands and guard the abyss at the northern border. Wang Xian murmured as a smile appeared on his face. Chapter 2687. There was no pop-up window for free reading. This Sky Edge sect leader's angry and resentful voice was still echoing in the sky. Other than the 7 million floating corpses, there were no disciples of Sky Edge sect around Dragon Peak. Looking at the floating corpses on Dragon Peak, everyone shuddered. An elder of Sky Edge sect had snatched the Abyss Seed from Dragon Palace and killed a disciple of Dragon Palace. In the end, Sky Edge sect had to pay such a price. How did the forces of Dragon Palace's Dragon King become so strong? On the left, the Moon Sect's Bei Chuan clan and the other forces watched this scene with their mouths agape. They knew a little about the strength of Dragon Palace, but what they had shown today had shocked them. Sect leader Yu, Dragon Peak of Dragon Palace seems to be stronger than before. The energy is more robust. A Lao Tzu from Ancient God Dynasty whispered to Sect leader Yu and the rest. Sect leader Yu and the rest nodded. They could sense the changes in Dragon Peak. The Array Formation Master in Dragon Palace must have broken through. That's why he can go against Sky Edge sect. A Lao Tzu from Yu Dynasty whispered, Dragon Palace is the pinnacle of the Demon Islands. Sky Edge sect was defeated and Nine Cloud sect is definitely not a match for Dragon Palace. Sect leader Yu lamented. To be invincible on the Demon Islands, Dragon Palace's strength was indeed terrifying. Let's pay them a visit, said the two ancestors of the continent of the Nine Clouds, glancing at each other. After witnessing the terrifying strength of Dragon Palace, Nine Clouds sect had to be on good terms with Dragon Palace to avoid future conflicts. Otherwise, they might learn from Sky Edge's mistakes. They looked at the surrounding corpses of Sky Edge sect. There were over 18,000 divine kings. Moreover, they recognized that there were 2 corpses of Sky Edge elders. In addition to the 5 that had gone missing previously, there were a total of 7. That was almost half of Sky Edge's peak combat strength. How terrifying! Laozu from Sky-Breaking Sect exclaimed in shock. When he saw Laozu from Nine Clouds Sect flying over, he immediately followed behind. Dragon Palace is really extraordinary. Congratulations to Dragon King for defeating Sky Edge Sect. The Laozu of the Nine Clouds Sect flew over, cupped his fists and congratulated Wang Xian. Thank you very much, cultivators of the continent of the Nine Clouds. The Dragon Palace has no intention of becoming enemies with anyone. Wang Xian cupped his hands at the Laozu of the Nine Heavens and replied politely. After all, both of them were peak undying God King existences. They deserve to be treated as equals by Dragon Palace. Congratulations, Dragon King. Congratulations to the Dragon Palace. In the future, if the Demon Island or the Dragon Palace needs anything, our Duantian Heavens will definitely support you. The sect leader and progenitor of the heaven-shattering sect flew over and greeted respectfully. The Broken Heaven sect was weaker than Nine Cloud Cliff, so they had to be humble in front of the Dragon Palace. Thank you. Everyone, we need to settle things here first before heading to the center of the Devil Island. Perhaps in the future, we will become neighbors. In the future, our Dragon Palace will also protect the Devil Island together with everyone. Wang Xian said with a smile. Then we shall not disturb the Dragon King. The experts of the Nine Clouds sect and the Sky-Shattering sect were startled, but they quickly nodded. Wang Xian's meaning was clear. He was telling them that they were going to Tianya's territory and occupy it. The Dragon Palace would replace the World Edge sections. As for the people of the World Edge sects, they would probably escape to other places. Otherwise, given the strength of the Dragon Palace, they wouldn't be able to resist. Congratulations to the Dragon Palace. Congratulations to the Dragon King. Congratulations, Dragon King. In the surrounding area, the experts of the various forces shouted in a flattering manner. They had witnessed the crushing defeat of the World Edge sections. In the future, when the Dragon Palace settled on the Devil Island, they naturally had to lick their boots. Congratulations, Dragon King. Is the Dragon Palace going to settle on the Devil Island in the future? The experts from the Moon Sect, Beichuan Sect, Dragon Python Group, and Ancient God Dynasty exchanged glances before flying towards the Dragon Peak. Yes, we are going to occupy the territory of the World Edge. Wang Xian nodded his head. That's even better. In the future, our forces will be much closer to the territory of the Dragon Palace. The Moon Sect leader and the rest replied with smiles. All right. Our Dragon Palace will be heading to the center of the Devil Island immediately. Wang Xian said, All right, we will rush back immediately. The Moon Sect leader and the rest of the experts replied immediately. Let's go. Wang Xian looked around and saw that all the corpses had been collected. He flew to the command platform and spoke to Tianjin. Yes, Dragon King. Tianjin nodded his head with a smile. The Dragon Peak was activated and flew towards the center of the Devil Island. Seeing the majestic Dragon Peak flying into the distance, all the forces behind looked on with bewilderment. Who would have expected an external force, the Dragon Palace, to step onto the stage of the Devil Island today? All the experts could not help but sigh. Inform all the disciples of the Nine Clouds sect not to offend anyone from the Dragon Palace in the future. The 2 old men from the Nine Clouds sect ordered the sect leader after a moment of silence. The strength of the Dragon Palace was already terrifying. Now that they had obtained the supreme treasure of the World's Edge, they would not be able to do anything about it. Dragon King, other than the corpses, the biggest reward this time is the Horizon Ruler. On the Dragon Peak, Tianjin looked at the Horizon Ruler in the Dragon Peak and spoke to Wang Xian. Everyone from the Sky Edge sect returned to their own holy kingdom instantly. Naturally, they could not bring the Horizon Ruler with them. Wang Xian looked over. With a swift move, he landed on the Horizon Ruler. At the very end, the sect leader and 2 elders sacrificed themselves, causing the Horizon Ruler to be extremely powerful. Wang Xian came to the front of the Horizon Ruler and sized it up. A wind-attributed divine weapon with immense power. The supreme treasure of the Sky Edge sect. The Horizon Ruler is a supreme treasure of the pinnacle of the God King realm. With 3 Ninth Order God King realm experts controlling it, it can unleash the strength of a pinnacle of the undying God King realm. It's extraordinary and can be considered a powerful weapon of war. Tianjun came to the Horizon Ruler and said, "This Horizon Ruler has intelligence and is loyal to the Sky Edge sect. I need to modify it. I'll leave it to you." With this Horizon Ruler, the strength of the Dragon Palace will increase significantly. Wang Xian said, with 3 Ninth Order God King realm experts controlling the Horizon Ruler, they could unleash the strength of a pinnacle of the undying God King realm. This was equivalent to adding 7 Ninth Order God King realm experts to the Dragon Palace. Other than the Horizon Ruler, there are many other rewards. Wang Xian murmured. 7 Elders' corpses, 4 Ninth Order God King realm experts' God Kingdoms, and 2 Ninth Order God King realm abyssal species corpses. This time, the Dragon Palace will have 11 more Ninth Order God King realm experts. The other cultivation realms will also increase by a lot. With such strength, the Dragon Palace will be able to gain a foothold on the Devil Island and guard the abyss at the northern border. He murmured and smiled. Chapter 2688. There was no pop-up window for free reading. Whoosh whoosh. Old ancestor, what should we do now? What should we do? According to the news from the east, Dragon Palace is flying towards us. They want to occupy our territory. Damn it. Damn it. 7 of our elders were killed. Patriarch, we have to get revenge. Revenge. Just as Dragon Palace was rushing towards the center of Demon Island, on a planet belonging to Sky Edge sect, tens of thousands of undying god kings from Sky Edge sect gathered in a palace shrouded in clouds and mist. In front of them, the experts from the great sects of the world's edge growled furiously. Cough, cough, cough. Patriarch, we must avenge this. In the front seats, the sect master and 2 elders looked like people who were about to die. There was no flesh or blood on them at all. They sat there and looked at the 2 ancestors before them, their eyes filled with hatred. Whoosh! The 2 patriarchs of the world's edge sect slowly closed their eyes and took a deep breath. Dragon Palace's strength had far exceeded their expectations. After losing the Sky Edge ruler, they were no match for Dragon Palace. Wait here for a while. After dozens of seconds, one of the old ancestors opened his eyes and said. The other old ancestor also opened his eyes. They exchanged a glance and disappeared. Huh. The people from Sky Edge sect were slightly stunned and fell silent. The current situation was related to the fate of the entire Sky Edge. Only the 2 old ancestors could decide. Will that person help us? At the same time, in a room shrouded in mist, one of the Sky Edge sect's old ancestors asked. The other old ancestor shook his head and didn't know. He looked at the mirror in front of him and waved his arm. Dong, dong, dong. A knocking sound came from the mystical mirror. Brother from Sky Edge sect, what's the matter? An old man's figure appeared in the mysterious mirror. The old man had a flame token on his back and was sitting on a futon. Protector D, our Sky Edge sect has encountered a powerful enemy. Our disciples have suffered heavy losses, and they are heading towards our territory. One of the Sky Edge old ancestors cupped his hands and said, Huh, your Sky Edge has encountered an enemy? With your strength, not many forces are a match for you. The old man in the mirror was slightly surprised and said, It's the Dragon Palace, a newly risen power. They killed 7 of our elders and millions of disciples. We're not their match. Now, they're rushing towards us. Protector D, please help us. Old Ancestor Sky's Edge begged with an ugly expression. Dragon Palace? What about the power of the Frost Goddess's master? Are they that strong? In the mirror, Protector D was slightly surprised. He knew a little about the power of the Dragon Palace. The master of the Frost Goddess on the demonic island seemed to have a close relationship with the current princess of the Imperial Court. Yes, it's that Dragon King. Guardian D, can you? Old Ancestor Sky's Edge immediately nodded. Now that the war on Imperial Dynasty has broken out, I won't be able to care about World Edge for now. Protector D said with a thoughtful look on his face. Protector D, our World Edge sect has done many things for you in the Imperial Court. Now that we are in danger, please help us. Old Ancestor Sky's Edge begged again with an ugly expression. At the moment, we can't leave the Imperial Court. How about this? Your World Edge sect can come to our side and make contributions for the Imperial Court. I will arrange a place for you. Let's talk about everything after the war in the Abyss is over. Also, I will make the Imperial Court announce that during the war in the Imperial Star region, internal strife is prohibited. Anyone who disobeys will be killed. Protector D said indifferently. The two old ancestors opened their mouths and their expressions changed. The Void Divine Kingdom on the Cold Night Island is about to open. I will give you 2 spots. If you can get a great opportunity, I will have to thank you. At this moment, Protector D looked at them and said, The Void Divine Kingdom on the Cold Night Island is about to open? The eyes of the 2 patriarchs of the Sky Edge sect flashed with a hint of fervor. They looked at each other. Thank you, Protector D. The 2 of them cupped their hands and thanked him. Hee. I will wait for you at the border of the Imperial Court and the Cold Night Island. Protector D smiled and said. Then, the image disappeared. We have done so many things for the Imperial Court. Now that we are in danger, they are not willing to help. The image disappeared, and one of the old ancestors of the World Edge sect shook his head. The Dragon Palace is not simple. Forget it. It is good that Protector D gave us 2 spots. If we can get a great opportunity, it will be worth it. Although it is illusory, it is a chance for us. As the 2 of them talked, they disappeared again and returned to the main hall of the World Edge sect. All disciples, pack up and head to the border of the Imperial Court and the Cold Night Island. The 2 of them announced as soon as they returned. Old Ancestor, are we going to leave this place? When all the disciples of the Sky's Edge heard this, their bodies trembled and their expressions turned extremely ugly. The World Edge sect had been in the center of the Demon Island for hundreds of millions of years. Everyone was unwilling to leave now. We are not a match for the Dragon Palace. When we reach the border of the Imperial Court and the Cold Night Island, we will be protected by the Imperial Court. We will take revenge one day. One of the old ancestors of the World Edge sect shouted with murderous intent in his eyes. Yes, old ancestor. The rest of the disciples nodded solemnly and immediately went out to prepare. They were going to leave this place. The entire Demon Island shook the next day. The news of the World Edge's defeat at the hands of the Dragon Palace hadn't spread yet. When everyone saw all the experts and disciples of the World Edge sect moving to the center of the Imperial Star region, it caused an uproar. Soon, the news that the Dragon Palace had severely injured the World Edge sect and was about to occupy the territory of the World Edge sect spread at a terrifying speed. All the people on the Demon Island were shocked when they heard the news. The World Edge sect was one of the strongest forces on the Demon Island. No one dared to provoke them, but now they were forced to flee by the Dragon Palace. This made everyone feel incredulous. On the artificial intelligence, everyone on the Demon Island was talking about it. Soon, everyone knew what had happened in front of the Abyss in the east. Everyone was shocked by the strength of the Dragon Palace. One day later, the Imperial Court suddenly made an announcement to the entire star region on the artificial intelligence. The Abyss had invaded, and a race war had begun. All human forces were forbidden from fighting among themselves. Anyone who did would be killed. It was a short announcement that everyone in the Imperial Star region could see. Chapter 2689. The Imperial Court actually sent out such a notice at this time? In the vast and boundless universe, Long Feng sped towards the center of the Demon Island at full speed. When Wang Xian switched on the supercomputer, he immediately saw this message. He raised his eyebrows slightly, and his eyes sparkled. It should be related to the battle between the Dragon Palace and the Sky Edge sect. He murmured. He was almost certain. The battle between the Dragon Palace and the Sky Edge sects had just ended, yet there was such a notice. It was obviously a warning. However, Wang Xian didn't take it to heart. The battle had already ended. Moreover, he also saw the news from the artificial intelligence system that the people from the Sky Edge sect had already left the Devil Island. In a short period of time, they wouldn't be able to break out into a battle with the World Edge sect. The Dragon Palace is still not strong enough to destroy the Sky Edge sect. After this upgrade, with the help of the Sky Edge ruler, there is a chance, but the chance is still small. In this battle with Tianya, the Dragon Palace indeed had the ability to crush them. However, there was another very crucial reason why he was able to eliminate so many people from the World Edge sect. That was, the Sky Edge sect had underestimated the enemy and directly surrounded the Dragon Peak, allowing the disciples of Dragon Palace to kill wantonly. However, they were still able to escape in the end. After all, the World Edge sect was a huge force that had stood on the Demon Island for hundreds of millions of years and had many powerful trump cards. After witnessing the strength of the Dragon Palace, it would be difficult for him to have such an opportunity in the future. However, as long as the Dragon Palace improves a little more, it can completely destroy the Sky Edge sect. He murmured as he stood on the podium and stared at the area. Dragon King, here we are. 2 days later, Long Feng arrived at the central region of the Demon Island, the trump card of the World Edge sect. Let's go and take over all the planets of the World's Edge sect. Wang Xian smirked. The people from the Sky Edge sect were afraid that the Dragon Palace would rush over, so they left in a hurry and only took one planet with them before leaving. Currently, there were still more than 100,000 vital planets within the territory of the Sky Edge sections. These vital planets all belong to the Dragon Palace. At this time, Wang Xian saw thousands of people standing in the void in front of him. They were looking in his direction as though they were waiting for the arrival of the Dragon Palace. Go, Wang Xian said plainly. Greetings, Dragon King. Greetings, Dragon King. Long Feng drove over and shouted respectfully when he saw over 3,000 people. You are? Wang Xian stood on the podium and swept his gaze across everyone. All of them were Undying God Kings, but the strongest among them was only a 6th-order Undying God King. Dragon King, we are some family clans and businessmen from a planet in the territory of the Tianya sect. All the experts and disciples of the Tianya sect have withdrawn and are now here to welcome the arrival of the Dragon Palace. The 6th-order Immortal King Realm expert said respectfully. All right, your position here will not change. We will soon start taking over all the planets. Looking at the crowd, Wang Xian revealed a smile. With these people, it would be much easier for the Dragon Palace to take over the various planets. Yes, Dragon King. We will do our best to cooperate with you in the following matters. Everyone immediately nodded and said respectfully, yes, bring us to the best planet at the moment. Wang Xian nodded his head plainly and ordered them. It's Dragon King. The group immediately nodded their heads and led Wang Xian and the rest towards a planet ahead. An hour later, the group arrived in front of a planet. This is indeed the planet of the Tianya sect. It's so much better than the planet where the main Dragon Palace is at. They are not on the same level. Wang Xian looked at the planet ahead. Immortal energy lingered around it, and ancient trees, mountains, and some divine trees could be seen everywhere. He had decided to transfer the main Dragon Palace to this planet. Everyone, please wait for a while on the ocean. As Wang Xian spoke, he flew towards the planet named Gudian and entered the ocean. Wang. He moved and summoned the Dragon Palace. The majestic Dragon Palace appeared, standing in the middle of the ocean. The Dragon Palace had moved again. Prime Minister Turtle, there's a group of people up there. Go and understand the situation in the Tianya sect. Also, bring some people to take over the planets in the territory of the Tianya sect. Wang Xian entered the Dragon Palace and immediately ordered, yes, Dragon King. All the other disciples of the Dragon Palace, come over and prepare for another round of advancement. Wang Xian said as he came to the Dragon Transformation Pool. Soon, members of the Dragon Palace rushed over with smiles on their faces. Wang Xian stood at the side and turned the corpses into dragon energy. The harvest this time was not small. It allowed the number of immortal god kings in the Dragon Palace to exceed 100,000, and the number of level 9 immortal god kings could also exceed 20. In the next few days, the Dragon Palace started to take over the planets. Sky formation brought people to search for the god countries hidden in the void. In this battle, they killed 7 to 8 million people from the Tianya sect and close to 20,000 immortal god kings. The god countries of these immortal god kings were hidden in the cracks in the void. Finding the god countries in the cracks in the void was a huge resource. At least, it would allow the devouring dragon race to improve greatly. Now, the improvement of the devouring dragon, Aosia, and the others was much slower. Time passed day by day, and the dragon palace was also improving at an insane rate. Half a month later, the Imperial Court used the AI to announce to everyone in the Imperial Star Domain. The Imperial Star Domain was in an all-out war. The Imperial Court was on the central island. The 3 islands beside it, including the Demon Island, were all invaded by the Abyss. The war between the humans and the Abyss in the Imperial Star Domain had begun. The entire Imperial Court army was mobilized and countless Imperial Court experts rushed to the battlefield. The entire Imperial Star Domain tensed up. Everyone on the AI was discussing the invasion of the Abyss. Emperor Star Maiden also sent news that the elite disciples of the Imperial Court had entered the front lines of the Abyss. Over 20 days ago, Wang Xian had sent an 8th Order Immortal God King and 3 7th Order Immortal God King experts to help the Emperor Star Maiden gain merits. With the help of the Dragon Palace members, the Emperor Star Maiden gained a lot in the first battle. On the Demon Island, the northern front lines continued to expand. However, it would take 3 to 4 months to reach the central area. The Abyss in the east had calmed down after the previous encirclement. There were no more Abyss beasts appearing. Compared to the peace on the Demon Island, the other places were in an uproar. Wang Xian was also paying attention to the battles in other places through the AI. After more than half a month, the promotion of the Dragon Palace members had finally come to an end. As such, he was tempted to increase the speed of the Dragon Palace's strength. Take the initiative to attack. Chapter 2690. There was no pop-up window for free reading. Prime Minister Turtle, how's the situation at the northern front? Wang Xian asked Prime Minister Turtle as he sat on the dragon throne in the main dragon palace of planet Gudian in the center of the Demon Island. Below him, Prime Minister Turtle, Tianjun, and the other leaders were gathered at the Dragon King Hall. Dragon King, we've gone over to investigate and the results are out. Prime Minister Turtle nodded and looked at Roving Demon. Dragon King, according to our Spiky Dragon's investigation, there are still 2 peak Immortal God King Realm Abyss Demons, 16 9th Order God King Realm Abyss Demons, 55 8th Order God King Realm Abyss Demons, 177th Order God King Realm Abyss Demons, and 50,000 Undying God King Realm Abyss Demons. Roving Demon said to Wang Xian. The Dragon Palace had been stable for 20 days, and most of the matters had been settled. Wang Xian wanted to hunt the Abyss species at the northern front. Tianjin and the other leaders of the Dragon Palace had the same thought. War was the best and fastest way for the Dragon Palace to improve. How much do you think we'll lose if we take action? Wang Xian's eyes flickered. This number was equivalent to the Abyss species at the eastern side of the Abyss. Given the Dragon Palace's current strength, they could suppress the Abyss species. However, if they really fought, they would suffer losses. Dragon King, even if we lose tens of thousands of Immortal King God Kings, as long as we can exterminate the Abyss species, it'll be a huge gain for us. Tianjun's eyes flickered. If the Dragon Palace could kill all the Abyss species at the northern front, it would be a huge gain. What I'm afraid of is if more powerful Abyss species appear in the depths of the Abyss, then we'll be in trouble. Prime Minister Turtle said. The risk of encircling the Abyss in the north was too high, and there were too many uncertainties. 2 peak Immortal King Abyss species. I can control Dragon Peak to hold them down and prevent them from escaping. With the Horizon Ruler, I'm 100% confident of killing the 2 peak Immortal King Abyss species within 15 minutes. Tianjun said confidently. The Dragon Palace currently has 21 9th Order Undying God King experts, including the Dragon King. Minus the 3 who are controlling the Horizon Ruler, there are 18 left. 18 against 16 9th Order Undying God King Realm Abyss species. The difference isn't huge, but there's a risk. The other levels are still manageable. Our Dragon Palace experts can suppress them. Prime Minister Turtle said after calculating their strengths. The surrounding leaders of the Dragon Palace pondered for a while. If that was the case, this battle would indeed be difficult. We can first use the Horizon Ruler to kill a few Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss Beasts. That way, it won't be a problem. Tianjin said. What I'm afraid of is that those two peak Undying God King Abyss Beasts will tangle with our high-end combat power. Dragon King, there is a way. Prime Minister Turtle shook his head and pondered for a moment before looking at Wang Xian. Oh? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and gestured for him to continue. Dragon King, we now have hundreds of thousands of habitable planets. Although these planets can bring us benefits, our Dragon Palace values the ocean the most. We can exchange the land. This time, we can go to the Great Moon Sect, the Heaven-Shattering Sect, or even the Nine Heavens Sect and ask them to send some experts. We'll give them the lands of these planets as compensation. Prime Minister Turtle said, or, Dragon King, we have another way. When we killed the Abyss Beasts in the eastern abyss of the Demon Island, they have a large number of corpses and crystals. We can give them the lands of these planets in exchange. That's not a bad idea. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. Go and inform the Heaven-Shattering Sect and Nine Heavens Sect. Ask them if they have any intentions of selling the Abyss Beasts. If they're not willing, then we'll use another method. Yes, Dragon King. I'll contact their sect leader, and we'll get the results soon. Prime Minister Turtle nodded and took out his AI to contact them. Wang Xian and the rest sat there and waited quietly. Dragon King, the Nine Heavens Sect is willing to trade with us with 2 rank 9 Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss Beasts. As for Heaven-Shattering Sect, it's a rank 8-1. It's not very useful to us, but it's not bad either. 10 minutes later, Prime Minister Turtle said, let's trade. Also, call the Great Moon Sect over. 2 rank 9 Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss Beast corpses and 4 Undying God Kings from the Great Moon Sect will do. Wang Xian said after a moment of silence. All right. Prime Minister Turtle nodded and went out to settle it. Greetings, Dragon King. Not long after, Sect Leader Yu and 2 Laozu rushed over. They looked at Wang Xian and greeted him respectfully. Our Dragon Palace is preparing to hunt the Abyss Beasts at the northern front. We would like to make a trade with the Great Moon Sect. Wang Xian said to them directly, hunting the Abyss Beasts at the northern front? The sect leader and the rest were taken aback. They knew a little about the number of powerful Abyss Beasts at the northern front. It was no less than the Abyss Beasts at the eastern front. The Abyss Beasts at the eastern front were annihilated by the combined forces of the entire Demon Island. What was the Dragon Palace doing now? Given the strength of our Dragon Palace, we are more than capable of annihilating the Abyss Beasts at the northern front. However, there aren't many rank 9 Undying God Kings that can match up to the Abyss Beasts. Therefore, we would like to invite the 4 from the Great Moon Sect to help us. Of course, if you are willing to help us, we won't let you waste your strength in vain. 1,000 habitable planets. Wang Xian continued speaking to them. We are indebted to the Dragon King. As long as you say the word, we will definitely not reject you. However, we would like to know how confident you are. Also, Old Feng has yet to recover from his injuries. Even with a large amount of resources and treasures, he will still need more than 100 years to recover. The Great Moon Sect leader said, Don't worry. Unless there are more powerful Abyss Beasts rushing over from the depths of the Abyss at the northern front, you guys can come and help us. We are 100% confident that we will be able to recover from Old Feng's injuries in an instant. As Wang Xian spoke, he looked at the newly formed liquid in the moon bay of the ancient pond. With a wave of his arm, the vitality liquid flew towards them. Also, you guys don't have to reject the offer of 1,000 habitable planets. He said plainly, Dragon King, the rewards you have offered are sufficient. As long as you give the order, we will take action immediately. The Great Moon Sect leader and the rest received the vitality liquid and sensed its energy. Shock flashed in their eyes as they replied immediately. All right. 15 days later. We will set off in 15 days. Wang Xian replied immediately. All right. The Great Moon Sect leader and the rest nodded, excluding the 3 9th level Undying God Kings who can control the Horizon Ruler. With the addition of the 4 of them and the 2 new ones, 16 against 24 should be enough. Wang Xian mumbled to himself with a smile on his face. Chapter 2691. As the days passed, the Dragon Palace exchanged 5,000 habitable planets for 2 rank 9 immortal King Abyss species corpses from 9 Heaven's Great Sect. Subsequently, the 2 corpses were used to strengthen the rank 9 immortal King Abyss species experts. Over the next 10 days, the Dragon Palace conducted a series of large-scale drills. The Dragon Palace had about 410,000 members, of which over 5,000 were in the logistics and civil service. There were about 405,000 combat members. The Dragon Palace would have to use all its strength to hunt the Abyss species at the northern front. There were hundreds of millions of Abyss species at the northern front. Of course, many of them were weak immortal realm Abyss species. Even so, it was still a considerable force. The Dragon Palace had to send out all its members for this war. 400,000 Dragon Palace members were all out against the hundreds of millions of immortal King Abyss species. This time, the Dragon Palace was going all out. Recently, all members of the Dragon Palace had been training in the Dragon Field. After all, there would definitely be deaths in this war. In fact, the number of deaths would not be small. Training now would reduce the number of casualties as much as possible. The revival of the Dragon Palace members would also require a large amount of resources. 15 days passed in the blink of an eye. 2 rank 9 Immortal King Realm members flew out from the Dragon Transformation Pool. Dragon King, all members of the Dragon Palace are ready? The Great Sect has also been informed. They will be here soon. On the afternoon of the 15th day, Prime Minister Turtle came to report to Wang Xian. All right, let's set off now. Without any hesitation, Wang Xian flew out of the room. All members of the Dragon Palace, follow the Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle ordered the members of the Dragon Palace. Yes, in the Dragon Field, all the Dragon Palace disciples who had lined up neatly immediately flew out. Located at the top of Planet Gudian, a majestic dragon peak stood there. Beside the Dragon Peak, there was a ruler-shaped divine weapon, Sky Edge Ruler. Heaven's Eye Arrow Division, Firehammer Clan, Starwood Dragon Species, enter the Dragon Peak. The rest of the Dragon Palace members, enter the Sky Edge Ruler. Prime Minister Turtle floated in the air and ordered again. Yes, all the Dragon Palace members answered and flew towards the Dragon Peak and Sky Edge Ruler. Dragon King. Outside, Sect Master Yu and the other 3 deities, and beside them were 5 8th Order Immortal King Realm experts. Other than the people from the Moon Sect, Beishuang, and the Sect Master of Beichuan Sect, the Dragon Python Group, and the Ancient God Dynasty also sent experts over. There were about 14 8th Order Undying God King Realm experts. Dragon King, I heard that you're going to hunt the abyssal species on the northern front. We're here to help the Dragon Palace. Sect Leader Beichuan and the rest smiled at Wang Xian. Thank you, everyone. Everyone, let's go to Dragon Peak. Wang Xian nodded at them plainly. The Dragon Palace's hunt for the abyssal species at the northern front was rather secretive. However, the higher-ups of Yu and Beichuan clan also knew about it. They were obviously here to express their goodwill and to show that they were on the same side as the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian did not reject them. Although they were not very strong, they could still reduce the losses of the Dragon Palace. It's Dragon King. The group immediately followed Wang Xian to the back of the podium. Depart. Depart. Prime Minister Turtle, Roving Sword, and another dragon guard stood on the Horizon Ruler, controlling it. Prime Minister Turtle looked in the direction of Dragon Peak and shouted. The Heavenly Array responded, and Dragon Peak and Horizon Ruler were activated. Boom. Dragon Peak and Horizon Ruler were both Pinnacle God King grade divine weapons with terrifying speed. Is this the full strength of the Dragon Palace? Behind the podium, the Moon Sect, Beichuan Sect, and the rest had nothing to do at this time. They were sizing up the strength of the Dragon Palace. Soon, they all widened their eyes in shock. Based on my senses, there's no one weaker than an 8th Order Eternal God Lord. There should be about 100,000 God Kings. The Moon Sect Master pursed his lips and said in shock. The weakest was an 8th Order Eternal God Lord, 100,000 God Kings, and a total of 400,000 members of the Dragon Palace. Was this the true strength of the Dragon Palace? Sky Edge Sect was already very strong, with the strength of about 30 million Eternal God Lords. but they only had 30 million eternal godlords and below. About 97% of them were 5th order eternal godlord and below. Their overall strength could not be compared to the Dragon Palace. They calculated in their hearts. Only disciples below 9 firmaments, broken heavens, and Sky Edge Eternal Godlord might have a chance against the disciples of the Dragon Palace. The group exchanged glances, their faces filled with shock. The Horizon Ruler Dragon Peak sped along. Over at the northern front, the abyss had expanded by a large margin after more than a month. After flying for 2 days, the vast abyss appeared in their sight. At a glance, the abyss was like a devil, devouring the human world. Dragon Palace members, get ready. Wang Xian looked at the abyss ahead and squinted his eyes. Swish, swish, swish. In the next moment, more than 300,000 disciples flew out from the Horizon Ruler. The 300,000 members of the Dragon Palace were divided into more than 30 armies, with 10,000 people in each army. Among them, the Berserk Dragon species and Imperial Dragon species were the vanguard, followed by the Earthly Lightning Dragon species and Phoenix species, Dragon Guards, Dragon Palace's Poison Division, and lastly, the Dolphin species. Each army was led by a 7th Order Undying God King Realm expert. The group of members came to the side of the Dragon Peak, brimming with fighting spirit and aura. All armies, disperse according to the arrangement above. Tianjun stood in front of the command platform, looking at the situation of the Abyss species on the screen. With a wave of his arm, images appeared in front of the army leaders. Yes, the group of army leaders looked over and immediately dispersed in the surroundings. The rest of the Dragon Palace members of the 8th Order Undying God King Realm and above fight against the Abyss species of the 8th Order Undying God King Realm and above. This is their distribution. Tianjun waved his arm again, transmitting the distribution of the Abyss species of the 8th Order Undying God King Realm and above to the members of the Dragon Palace. Dragon King. After the distribution, Tianjun looked at Wang Xian. Dragon Palace members, heed my command, kill. Wang Xian raised his arm and ordered loudly. Yes, kill. In the next moment, all the members of the Dragon Palace moved, and the armies charged into the abyss. Boom, boom, boom. The Dragon Peak and the Horizon Ruler let out a loud explosion. Swish, swish, swish. On the Dragon Peak, thorny vines covered the ground, and 3 thorny monsters quickly formed, charging towards the center. The center was where the Abyss species were the densest. 2 peak stage Undying God King Realm Abyssal species were there. Chapter 2692. The first one. Wang Xian revealed a smile when he saw Roving Demon's sharp claws penetrating the heavily injured Undying God King Abyss species. The Immortal Slaying Gourd and Roving Demon's attack instantly killed an Undying God King Abyss species. In fact, if Wang Xian released the Immortal Slaying Gourd when it was unprepared, he could kill an Undying God King Abyss species with just the gourd alone. But when Wang Xian made his move, the Abyss species had seen it clearly. But even so, Wang Xian was very satisfied with the results. 15 left. Roving Demon. Let's continue hunting the next one. Wang Xian moved and attacked the Undying God King Abyss species that Roving Heavens was fighting. This was a humanoid abyss species that looked similar to the Pinnacle God King Abyss species. It was about 500 meters in size, and its entire body was pitch black. Its ribs were its sharp weapons. Against Roving Heaven's violent attack, this Undying God King Abyss species did not seem to be at a disadvantage. Whoosh! At this moment, a sharp sword carrying a terrifying flame directly rushed towards it. The humanoid abyss species felt the power of the flaming sword and was terrified as it tried to dodge. Trying to escape? Dream on. Roving Heavens saw the flaming sword and blood-red chains extended from the sea-calming godly needle. The chains wrapped around the humanoid abyss species. The humanoid abyss species was enraged when it saw the blood-red chains wrapping around it. Pung pung pung. In the next moment, its body directly split apart, and its bones scattered in all directions. Roving Heavens was shocked to see this strange move. Even Wang Xian had a look of surprise on his face. Pung pung pung. However, at this moment, the flaming longsword's attack still landed on the bones of its body, instantly piercing through them. Black blood oozed out from the bones. Roar, roar. Its head, which was sent flying high, let out a miserable cry. Pong. The head wanted to escape, but a blinding white light penetrated its head. Roving Demon waved his hand and threw it towards Roving Heavens. Haha. Roving Heavens roared, and the godly sea steadying needle landed heavily on it. The second Undying God King level 9 Abyss species, dead. 14 left. Wang Xian squinted his eyes. Let's go, the next one. He roared and charged towards the Undying God King Abyss seed that Aochi was fighting. Keep it occupied. Roving Demon and Roving Heavens followed behind as they shouted at Aochi. All right. Blood-red chains appeared around Aochi and shot towards the winged Undying God King Abyss type. Boom, boom, boom. This time, Wang Xian did not use the Immortal Slaying Gourd's Immortal Sword. Instead, he grabbed with his Dragon Claw. Roving Heavens see steadying godly needle slammed heavily towards the surface. In a 4-on-1 situation, there were still 2 Berserk Dragons and 1 Spike Dragon that could assassinate a Spike Dragon of the same level. There was no need to continue wasting the Immortal Sword in the Immortal Slaying Gourd. The ferocious attacks were unleashed, causing the Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss species to reveal a look of shock and fear. As it retreated, it tried to seek support from its comrades. However, the rest of the abyssal species were completely occupied. 20 seconds later, the third Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss species died. 13 left. Ha ha ha, kill. Victory was in sight. Wang Xian revealed a look of excitement as he led Roving Demon, Roving Heavens and Aochi towards the remaining Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss species. Roar, roar. As Wang Xian and the rest surrounded the fourth Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss species, the humanoid Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss species let out a cry for help. Above, the humanoid Pinnacle Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss species heard the roar below. Its blood-red eyes looked over, and its face was filled with rage. It waved its arm, and an incomparably sharp black rib shot towards Wang Xian and the rest. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. However, the pitch-black ribs were intercepted by a thorny monster in midair, and a dense cluster of thorns covered it. On the other side, the other thorn monster also extended countless thorns and directly enveloped Linley in a domain. Roar, roar. The human-shaped abyssal species roared and waved its arm. The pitch-black ribs on its body extended toward its palm and turned into a giant sword. The humanoid monster wielded a 1,000-meter-long sword and slashed at the surrounding brambles. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Dense thistles and thorns extended from all directions, directly piercing through it. The Heaven Array's array formed these thorny monsters. Every single one of them could kill an existence at the same level as them. In a 2v1 situation, it was even more terrifying. The countless brambles had no space to dodge. The Pinnacle Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss species wielded its huge sword and slashed in all directions. Pung, pung, pung. However, after its huge sword slashed through tens of thousands of brambles, the huge sword in its hand was completely covered in brambles. Roar, roar. Seeing this, the humanoid Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss species let out a furious roar. The bones on its body dispersed and turned into sharp weapons that slashed at the surrounding brambles. This Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss species isn't simple. On Dragon Peak's command platform, Heaven Array watched the battle between the 3 brambles. Seeing the strength of the humanoid Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss species, he was shocked. He glanced to the side. Compared to the Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss species with 4 pairs of wings, this Abyss species was much stronger and more bizarre. The other one was being suppressed by the brambles and Heaven's Edge Ruler. This one was still able to resist. However, that's all, Heaven Array murmured. As soon as he finished his sentence, his entire body changed. The Witch Dragon with a water elemental dragon head and 8 dragon arms appeared. He waved his arm, and the 4 dragon arms flew towards the 2 brambles and entered the brambles. In the next moment, the brambles surrounding the humanoid Undying God King Stage 9 Abyss species had 2 creepy dragon heads in the middle. The dragon heads were embedded in the brambles and looked slightly ferocious. They stared at the pitch-black bones of the humanoid Undying God King stage, 9 abyss species. Thick brambles attacked the rib bones one by one. Chapter 2693. So. When Tianjun merged his body with the thorn monsters, the strength of the two monsters increased tremendously. The tens of thousands of thorns underwent a huge change. Every thorn grew by 2 to 3 meters in diameter, and on the thorns there was a faint pressure, with the image of a dragon flickering on it. The thorns wrapped around the bones and ribs of the humanoid peak stage God King Abyss species. The head of the humanoid peak stage God King Abyss species was enraged when it saw the thorns wrapping around it. Rumble. In the next instant, tens of thousands of ribs erupted with black flames. The flames were strange and filled with corrosive properties. Ka. However, the thorns were covered with a layer of dragon scales and continued to twine around the bones. So. The thorns wrapped around it, binding it tightly. Ao. When the head saw this scene, its face was filled with horror and it hurriedly dodged to the side. Trying to escape? Wishful thinking. One of the dragon heads in the center of the thorns monster let out a cold voice. A dense cluster of brambles attacked. Hualala. However, just as the thorns were about to cover its head, the entire head split apart, splitting into pieces, escaping from the thorns' attack. The entire head was split into pieces. Eyes, teeth, nose, ears, all of them fled in all directions. This abyss species is so strange. It feels like it's a biological machine. Tianjun looked at the humanoid peak stage, Undying God King Abyss species in shock. Such a strange creature, even with his past experience, he was shocked and amazed. His eyes flickered as he controlled the thorns and prepared to capture it alive. Rumble. Just as Tianjun and Prime Minister Turtle were suppressing the Undying God King Abyss species. Below, Wang Xian was leading Roving Demon, Roving Heavens, Roving Demon, Roving Heavens, and the rest as they slaughtered the Undying God King Realm Abyss species. Around them, the armies of Dragon Palace were also slaughtering the Abyss species. Dragon Palace formed an army of 10,000 people, and each army had 4 Undying God King Abyss species. The Imperial Dragon race focused on defense, while the Berserk Dragon race focused on offense. At the very back, the Dolphin Clan released support energy. With the help of the Dolphin Clan, the Imperial Dragon species withstood the powerful attacks one after another. The Berserk Dragon species could kill without any fear. He did not have to worry about his own life at all. The violent attack quickly reaped the lives of the Abyssal species. In the Dragon Palace, there was no one whose combat power was lower than an eternal divine master's. The God King level combat power of the Dragon Palace was almost double that of the Abyss type. With such a lineup and strength, it was a complete massacre. However, there were bound to be casualties in war. Even though the Dragon Palace was very strong, the unexpected attack still caused many casualties in the Dragon Palace. After all, there were hundreds of millions of abyssal demons. However, this loss was completely within the acceptable range of the Dragon Palace. It was even less than expected. Deafening roars and howls echoed endlessly in the abyss. The 8th one. 10 minutes later, Wang Xian, Ao Qitian, and Ao Yao had killed 8 of them. In the entire abyss, more than half of the Undying God King realm abyssal beasts had been killed. The other 8 were also seriously injured under the siege of the Dragon Palace's experts. Ao Qitian, you guys kill the Undying God King realm abyssal beasts. Ao Yao, let's continue. After Wang Xian gave the order, he flew forward. Yes, Dragon King. Ao Qitian waved his ocean-steadying godly pillar and flew down. There was no longer a need for so many experts in the Undying God King realm battle. Sect Leader Yu, let's surround them. Wang Xian revealed a smile as he moved and came to the side of Sect Leader Yu and the rest. At this moment, Sect Leader Yu and one of their old ancestors were attacking one. Although they could not kill it, it was an easy battle for them. All right. Seeing Wang Xian's arrival, the two of them smiled. Kill. Following which, Wang Xian, Sect Leader Yu, and the other 4 charged towards the Undying God King Abyss Seed. In less than a minute, it was easily killed. Dragon King, let's go and help Old Feng and the rest. The four of us can handle that one. After killing the undying God King Realm Abyssal Demon, one of the old ancestors smiled and said, "All right, be careful." Wang Xian nodded and locked onto the Abyssal Demon that was fighting Aoxia and the rest. "We're about to win this battle." Sect leader Yu and the rest looked at the battle around them. Be it above or below, the experts of Dragon Palace had the upper hand. Every member of Dragon Palace is extremely talented and powerful. After this battle, I'm afraid Nine Heavens sect will have to respect Dragon Palace. Old ancestor, you said. Let's go. We cannot drag Dragon Palace down. We have to kill a rank 9 abyssal demon as soon as possible. Sect leader, you roared with a smile. Surround and kill. Two of them rushed over and roared at the other two old ancestors. Ao, ao, ao. When the battle had reached the 15th minute, a horrifying roar came from above. Did you get rid of one? Hearing this voice, Wang Xian revealed a smile as he lifted his head and looked up. In front of Prime Minister Turtle, and the rest was the peak undying God King Realm Abyssal Demon with 4 wings. At this moment, its body was in a terrible state. Its head was entangled by the thorns, and its life was rapidly disappearing. This heavenly array old man is bragging. He said he would finish off 2 peak Godlord Abyssal Demons in 15 minutes, but he only finished off one. At this time, Emosha's voice came from the side. Kiki, maybe he's senile, and did not calculate properly. Yamada Serpent chuckled. Wang Xian chuckled lightly. Dragon King, we're here to help you. Prime Minister Turtle controlled the Horizon Ruler and flew towards Wang Xian. Beams of energy shot towards the undying God King Realm Abyssal Demons. With Prime Minister Turtle and the rest controlling the Horizon Ruler, the situation became much easier. The undying God King Realm Abyssal Demons were quickly killed. After the rank 9 Abyssal Demons were killed, Dragon Palace's rank 9 Abyssal Demons were able to kill rank 8 Abyssal Demons even faster. The battle began to become one-sided. Following this, the speed at which the Abyssal Demons were being killed increased by 10 times. In the sky, 3 Abyssal Demons began to surround and attack the peak God King Realm Abyssal Demon. After another 15 minutes, the entire abyss quietened down. The roars of the Abyssal Demons turned into cries of agony, until the current silence. In the entire abyss, only the sky was still filled with battles. Half an hour and they still haven't finished off that peak undying God King Realm Abyssal Demon. This can't be. Chapter 2694. There was no pop-up window for free reading. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. When Tianzhan merged his body with the thorn monsters, the strength of the 2 monsters increased tremendously. The tens of thousands of thorns underwent a huge change. Every thorn grew by 2 to 3 meters in diameter. Moreover, the thorns gave off a faint aura with the silhouette of a dragon flickering on them. The thorns wrapped around the bones and ribs of the humanoid peak stage God King Abyss species. The head of the humanoid peak stage God King Abyss species was enraged when it saw the thorns wrapping around it. Rumble. In the next instant, tens of thousands of ribs erupted with black flames. The flames were strange and filled with corrosive properties. Ka. However, the thorns were covered with a layer of dragon scales and continued to wrap around the bones. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The thorns wrapped around it and bound it tightly. Ao. When the head saw this scene, its face was filled with horror and it hurriedly dodged to the side. Trying to escape? Wishful thinking. One of the dragon heads in the center of the thorn monster let out a cold voice. A dense cluster of brambles attacked. Walala. However, just as the thorns were about to cover its head, the entire head split apart and was separated into pieces, escaping from the thorns. The entire head was separated into pieces. Eyes, teeth, nose, ears, all of them were escaping in all directions. This abyss species is so strange. It feels like it's a biological machine. Tianzhan looked at the humanoid peak stage, undying God King Abyss species in shock. Such a strange creature, even with his past experience, he was shocked and amazed. His eyes flickered as he controlled the thorns and prepared to capture it alive. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Just as Tianjin and Prime Minister Turtle were suppressing the undying God King Abyss species. Below, Wang Xian was leading Roving Demon, Roving Heavens, Roving Demon, Roving Heavens, and the rest as they slaughtered the undying God King Realm Abyss species. Around them, the armies of Dragon Palace were also slaughtering the Abyss species. Dragon Palace formed an army of 10,000 people, and each army had 4 undying God King Abyss species. The Imperial Dragon type focused on defense, while the Berserk type focused on offense. At the very back, the Dolphin Clan released support energy. With the help of the Dolphin Clan, the Imperial Dragon species withstood the powerful attacks one after another. The Berserk Dragon species could kill without any fear. He did not have to worry about his own life at all. The violent attack quickly reaped the lives of the Abyssal species. In the Dragon Palace, there was no one whose combat power was lower than an eternal divine master's. The God King level combat power of the Dragon Palace was almost double that of the Abyss type. With such a lineup and strength, it was a complete massacre. However, there were bound to be casualties in war. Even though the Dragon Palace was very strong, the unexpected attack still caused many casualties in the Dragon Palace. After all, there were hundreds of millions of abyssal demons. However, this loss was completely within the acceptable range of the Dragon Palace. It was even less than expected. Deafening roars and howls echoed endlessly in the abyss. The 8th one. 10 minutes later, Wang Xian, Ao Qitian, and Ao Yao had killed 8 of them. In the entire abyss, more than half of the undying God King realm abyssal beasts had been killed. The remaining 8 were heavily injured under the combined attacks of the Dragon Palace experts. Ao Qitian, you guys kill the undying God King realm abyssal beasts. Ao Yao, let's continue. After Wang Xian gave the order, he immediately flew forward. Yes, Dragon King. Ao Qitian waved his sea-calming godly needle and flew down. There was no longer a need for so many experts in the undying God King realm battles. Sect Leader Yu, let's surround them. Wang Xian revealed a smile as he moved and came to the side of Sect Leader Yu and the rest. At this moment, Sect Leader Yu and one of their old ancestors were attacking one. Although they could not kill it, it was an easy battle for them. All right. Seeing Wang Xian's arrival, the 2 of them smiled. Kill. Following which, Wang Xian and the rest of them attacked the undying God King realm abyssal demon. In less than a minute, it was easily killed. Dragon King, let's go and help Old Feng and the rest. The 4 of us can handle that one. After killing the undying God King realm abyssal demon, one of the old ancestors smiled and said, All right, be careful. Wang Xian nodded and locked onto the abyssal demon that was fighting Ao Xie and the rest. We're about to win this battle. Sect Leader Yu and the rest looked around. Be it above or below, the experts of Dragon Palace had the upper hand. Every member of Dragon Palace is extremely talented and powerful. After this battle, I'm afraid even 9 heaven sects will have to respect Dragon Palace. Old Ancestor, you said. Let's go. We can't drag Dragon Palace down. We have to kill a rank 9 abyssal demon as soon as possible. Sect Leader, you roared with a smile. Surround and kill. The 2 of them rushed over and shouted at the other 2 old ancestors. Ao Ao Ao. When the battle had reached the 15th minute, a horrifying roar came from the sky. Did you get rid of one? When Wang Xian heard this voice, he revealed a smile and lifted his head to look at the sky. In front of Prime Minister Turtle, and the rest was a pinnacle undying God King realm abyssal demon with 4 wings. It was in a terrible state, its head entangled by the thorns, and its life was rapidly draining away. This heavenly array old man is bragging. He said he would finish off 2 pinnacle godlord abyssal demons in 15 minutes, but only one has been taken care of. Emo Shah's voice came from the side. Hee, maybe he's senile and miscalculated. Yamada Serpent chuckled. Wang Xian chuckled lightly. Dragon King, we're here to help you. Prime Minister Turtle rode the Horizon Ruler and flew towards Wang Xian, sending beams of energy towards the undying God King realm abyssal demons. With Prime Minister Turtle and the rest using the Horizon Ruler to attack, the situation became easier. One by one, the undying God King realm abyssal demons were killed. After the rank 9 abyssal demons were killed, Dragon Palace's rank 9 abyssal demons were able to kill rank 8 abyssal demons even faster. The battle was starting to become one-sided, following which, the speed of the abyssal demons being killed increased tenfold. In the sky, 3 abyssal demons began to surround and attack the humanoid pinnacle god king realm abyssal demon. Another 15 minutes passed, and the entire abyss quietened down. The roars of the abyssal demons turned into cries of agony, until the current silence. In the entire abyss, there was only one battle going on in the sky. Half an hour, and they still haven't finished off that pinnacle undying god king realm abyssal demon. This can't be. Chapter 2695. What's wrong with Tianjin? We've dealt with them all. Below, all the abyss species had been annihilated. In the sky, the battle was still going on. Emosha raised his head and looked up as he couldn't help but shout out. Given Tianjin's strength, this shouldn't be the case. Prime Minister Turtle frowned slightly and asked with a puzzled expression. Let's go and take a look. Wang Xian was also surprised. In a battle of the same level, the thorn monster formed by Tianjin's formation could easily kill the opponent. Now that it was 3 against 1, it was strange that they still could not deal with it. Wang Xian did not rush into the battlefield, but went to the command platform of the Dragon Peak. Dragon King, I've encountered an interesting abyss species. I'm going to capture it alive. Tianjin's eyes flickered when he saw Wang Xian. Oh, capture it alive? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows with a surprised look on his face. Got it. Right at this moment, Tianjin revealed an excited expression. In the sky, where the thorns covered the area, the 3 thorny monsters had sharp bones wrapped around their bodies. In the middle, there were nose, eyes, ears, and other parts that were entangled. This pinnacle immortal king abyss species can split into so many parts, and it doesn't seem to be seriously injured. Wang Xian looked at the parts of the abyss species curiously. If there was vitality in the broken arm of an expert, he could indeed fly with one arm. But after the arm was broken, it was equivalent to being injured. If the immortal king was split into tens of thousands of parts, it would be considered a serious injury. Now that the pinnacle immortal king abyss species had been split into tens of thousands of parts, it seemed to be uninjured. Amazing. I'm going to study it. Dragon King, don't kill this abyss species for now. Let me see if there are any surprises. Tianjin said to Wang Xian. Sure. Restrain it. Let's go. Wang Xian nodded and instructed. Yes, Dragon King. Tianjin answered immediately and took out jade boxes to store the body parts of the pinnacle immortal king abyss species. Victory. Return. Standing on the Dragon Peak, Wang Xian swept his gaze across the disciples of Dragon Palace and shouted. Victory. Return. Prime Minister Turtle repeated loudly. Yes. All the members of the Dragon Palace responded excitedly. One by one, they flew toward the Dragon Peak and the Horizon Ruler. Dragon King, the results and losses of this battle have been tallied up. In less than an hour, Prime Minister Turtle flew over and spoke to Wang Xian with a smile. Tell me. Wang Xian nodded and replied. In terms of losses, we have an 8th Order Immortal King, 3 7th Order Immortal Kings, 15 6th Order Immortal Kings. That's a total of over 700 Immortal Kings, and about 2,000 disciples below the Godlord realm. Most of them have been absorbed by the soul returning wood. Prime Minister Turtle said, the number of dead disciples is less than we expected. It's nothing compared to the harvest. This time, there's one undying God King Peak Abyss type corpse, 16 rank 9s, 55 rank 9s, 170 rank 9s, 50,000 undying God King and above corpses, over 300 million other corpses. This time, our Dragon Palace will get a huge upgrade. As he spoke, his eyes shone with excitement. The loss is within the range. The harvest is not bad. Wang Xian nodded his head. This time, the Dragon Palace would have an additional 16 9th Order Immortal King Realm experts. In addition to the original 23, there would be a total of 49th Order Immortal King Realm experts. What was the concept of 49th Order Immortal King Realm experts? It was a lot stronger. In addition, there would be 2 more peak stage Immortal King Realm experts. As he thought of this, He looked to the side and saw Tianjun, holding a humanoid peak stage Immortal King Abyss-type skeleton, and was studying something. Wang Xian did not disturb him. Dragon Peak and Heaven's Edge Ruler traveled at high speed. 2 days later, they arrived at the center of the Demon Island. Enter the Dragon Palace for a comprehensive upgrade. Wang Xian ordered all the disciples before entering the Dragon Palace. All the members of the Dragon Palace entered the Dragon Palace. Dragon King, who should be the first to break through to the peak stage Immortal King realm? Prime Minister Turtle asked as they arrived at the Dragon Transformation Pool. Let Roving Heavens do it, Wang Xian said after a moment of silence. Roving Demon's upgrade might be useful, but he was strong in assassination. In a head-on battle, he was much weaker than the Berserk Dragons. If there was another Abyss War, Roving Heavens would be more suitable for it. Tianjun, how's your research on that peak stage Immortal King Abyss type coming along? He looked to Tianjun by the side. Over the past 2 days, Tianjun had been researching on this thing. Dragon King, I have an idea. I'm prepared to turn this peak stage Immortal King Abyss type into a biological armor. A biological armor that has life and can raise one's strength, Tianjun said after a moment of silence. Oh, biological armor? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow. Dragon King, after the Array Grandmaster, one can be called a shaman. Of course, Void God Emperor shamans can only be called junior shamans. In the past, the reason why I was betrayed by my disciple and killed by the Shaman Society was because I obtained a witchcraft manual. Arrays are used by shamans to connect heaven and earth are used by shamans to modify themselves. Powerful shamans would carve arrays in their bodies to strengthen themselves and connect heaven and earth. According to the knowledge in that witchcraft manual, this peak stage Immortal King Abyss type is a great material. It can't be called a material. As long as it is modified slightly, it can be made into a biological armor. Tianjun said as his eyes shone with wisdom. What will the outcome be? Wang Xian pondered for a moment before asking. Dragon King, this peak stage Immortal King Abyss type's combat power far surpasses others of the same level. In a one-on-one situation, even the thorns formed by my array is not a match for it. It's not worth it to use it to raise a member of Dragon Palace. After making it into a biological armor, it can fight freely and its combat power will be the same as before. It can also be worn. For example, Dragon King, you can directly attach the biological armor to your body. Your strength will be stacked with that of the biological armor. This is like a special mechanical weapon. Even if it's just a small god, the biological armor will recognize it as its owner. It can also unleash the combat power of a peak stage Immortal King. Tianjun said. Oh, that's more suitable than using it to raise a disciple of Dragon Palace. How long will it take to complete the modification? Wang Xian was slightly shocked. It will take some time. Also, Dragon King, I would like to ask you for 2 treasures, Unbeginning Saint Wings and Eternal Embryo Fruit. Tianjun said. Chapter 2696. Inchoate Sacred Wings was a treasure that Heaven Formation had obtained along with the witchcraft. It was also because of the inchoate sacred wings that he could survive. According to Heaven Formation, the inchoate sacred wings was an extremely powerful treasure. Even when he was at his peak, he couldn't see through the material of the inchoate sacred wings. Heaven Formation wanted the inchoate sacred wings to build a biological armor. Of course, it was only temporary. Given the mysteriousness and power of the inchoate sacred wings, it would be a waste. As for consuming the eternal pregnancy fruit, Heaven Formation was preparing to eliminate and give birth to the abyssal spirit of the Pinnacle Immortal King, Pinnacle God King. To build a biological armor, one would need to have a trace of intelligence and complete control. This fancy thing is quite interesting. Old man, let's study it together and create a biological armor. We'll add some poison to it. Devilish Orochi looked over curiously and said, Hee, sure. The 2 of you can become witch dragons. I can teach you a thing or 2 in the future. Heaven Formation looked at the 2 of them and said plainly, Hee, it's impossible for us to be your henchmen. We are still waiting for the poison dragons to appear in the Dragon Palace. When the opportunity arises, we will become poison dragons. Your witch dragons are too strenuous. Devilish Orochi shook his head slightly and said, Poison dragons were dark mutated divine dragons. They were also extremely powerful divine dragons. However, the Dragon Palace couldn't turn them into poison dragons. Such mutated divine dragons required powerful treasures and opportunities. Hee. Heaven Formation smiled faintly and left without saying anything. Devilish Orochi and the rest followed. Duan Jinming and the Fire Hammer clan leader followed behind. The pinnacle of blacksmiths was the creator. They could also learn something from the creation of biological armor. Wang Xian smiled when he saw it. Let all the disciples improve. He said plainly. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded and started assigning the members of the Dragon Palace to improve. Wang Xian didn't have anything else to do. He looked over at Heaven Formation. In the next 10 days, all the members of the Dragon Palace improved their strength. Meanwhile, something big had happened on the Demon Island. This sensational event came from the Dragon Palace. 10 days after the Dragon Palace conquered the Northern Abyss, the news spread. The first to know about this was the Nine Heavens heaven-shattering sect. The abyss to the east of the Demon Island had been pacified. For the time being, no abyssal race had appeared. The great sect of the Nine Heavens and the heaven-shattering sect had shifted their attention to the abyss to the north of the Demon Island. However, when they sent people to investigate, they found that there were no more abyssal species in the northern abyss, which shocked them. After some investigation, they found out that all the experts of the Dragon Palace had gone out for a mission 10 days ago. Finally, they got specific information from the sect master of Yu clan. When they found out about this, they were shocked beyond belief. It was even more shocking than when the Dragon Palace severely injured the World Edge sect. Following this, the ancestral patriarchs of the Nine Heavens and the heaven-shattering patriarchs brought valuable gifts and visited the Dragon Palace. If the strength displayed by the Dragon Palace previously made them fearful, then this time they were terrified. They also understood the strength of the abyssal species in the northern abyss, which was similar to the ones in the east. In the past, the continent of the Nine Clouds, the Broken Heaven sect, and the other factions had to work together to stop the abyss species in the east. Now that the Dragon Palace had destroyed such a force, it meant that the Dragon Palace had the strength to destroy the continent of the Nine Clouds and Broken Skies. They had to come and express their goodwill. Wang Xian naturally accepted the visit of the continent of the Nine Clouds and Broken Skies. If he didn't accept it, the other party might panic. Such a shocking matter was not known by ordinary people, only some experts. Following which, the entire Demon Island calmed down. Without the threat of the abyss species, the Demon Island was much more relaxed. However, compared to the peace on the Demon Island, the battles in other places were getting more and more intense. On the artificial intelligence system, there were frequent reports of experts from various sects dying on the Cold Night Island. On the Pingy Island, there were experts from various sects dying. In recent days, the artificial intelligence system even reported the death of an immortal king pinnacle expert from the imperial court. An army of experts was attacked by the abyss species, and all of them were annihilated. The battles in other places were getting more and more intense. The people on the Demon Island could feel that the invasion from the abyss and other places was getting fiercer and crueler. Wang Xian also understood some things about the other islands and the central region from the artificial intelligence system. However, this place was very far from the Demon Island, and the members of the Dragon Palace were also in the process of leveling up. Therefore, he didn't pay much attention to it. Dragon King. The leveling up of all the disciples of the Dragon Palace has ended. After a few days, Prime Minister Turtle came to the Dragon King Hall and reported to Wang Xian. Good, let them get used to it. Wang Xian smiled when he heard the news. The strength of the Dragon Palace had reached another peak. He, very good, very strong. Ha, Boss Dragon King, take a look. At this time, Masha's voice was heard from outside. Subsequently, Wang Xian saw a 2,000-meter black humanoid monster entering the Dragon King Hall. It was 2,000 meters tall, and every bone on its body was like a terrifying weapon. On its back, there was a pair of white bone wings that spanned 3,000 to 4,000 meters. Its body was filled with an intense murderous aura. A pinnacle immortal king aura could be felt. Wang Xian looked over and his eyes shone. Wang. Located on the head of this terrifying monster, Masha flew out from it with an excited face. At this time, Sky Array Orochi, Duan Jinming, and the rest also walked in. Is it done? Wang Xian walked over and asked with a smile. Greetings, Dragon King. As soon as he walked over, the humanoid monster went down on one knee and greeted Wang Xian. Dragon King, it's done. It has inherited the strength of the pinnacle immortal king god King Abyss species. You are the leader, and you can also enter and control it. Sky Array walked over and said with a smile, It does feel like a mech. Wang Xian placed his palm on its body, and a wave of information was transmitted to him. He moved and entered its body. In the next moment, Wang Xian appeared on its head and could control it with a thought. Similarly, even if he did not control it, it could still fight on its own when in danger. Inside it, Wang Xian's attacks were not affected at all. It was magical. That's strong. I'll call you Dragon Tool from now on, Wang Xian said plainly. Although this kind of thing was fancy, at least at this stage, the Dragon Tool was a powerful combat subordinate. It was also a strong bodyguard. Just nice. My strength has yet to reach the pinnacle immortal king god king. With this, I won't be afraid of pinnacle immortal king existences. Wang Xian chuckled. He was relying on external things. He felt like a tycoon. Chapter 2697. Dragon King, what do you think? Isn't it amazing? Haha, there's a powerful poison in there that the 8 limitless God King realm and I placed on the bones. As long as you injure the enemy, the poison will enter the enemy's body. Even 9th Order Immortal King realm experts will be injured, and 8th Order immortals will die instantly. Inside the Dragon King Palace, Missouri Shah smiled and took credit. Your poison is useless. 8th and 9th Order Undying God Kings can't even defend against a dragon weapon. Your poison isn't even comparable to the fiery gold sword and fiery gold hook forged by Duan Jinming and the rest, Tianjun said with a chuckle. Demon Fiend pursed his lips and did not continue speaking. Speaking of which, their poison was indeed of little value. It couldn't be helped. Currently, the weakest department in the entire Dragon Palace was the Dragon Guard Division, Roving Yuksha, and the Demon Fiend Division. In the Dragon Palace, he was considered a weakling who could only fight one rank higher than him. The Fiery Gold Sword and the Fiery Gold Hook were modified by Duan Jinming and the others from the dragon's body and bones. They could increase the dragon's battle prowess. The current dragon machine was much stronger than before. Wang Xian was very satisfied with the dragon equipment. It was much more suitable than using it to enhance the strength of the members of the Dragon Palace. Dragon King, the Imperial Court announced something on the artificial intelligence system. At this moment, Prime Minister Turtle walked over and spoke to Wang Xian. What is it? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow and asked Prime Minister Turtle. I just announced that the Imperial Court is recruiting experts. We welcome any expert from the Imperial Star region to come to the Deep Abyss to make contributions. It says that as long as we come to the Imperial Court and kill the Abyss demons, we can accumulate Imperial Court merit points. Merit points are very useful. Right now, the entire Imperial Star region is boiling over. As Prime Minister Turtle spoke, he waved his arm and the image released by the Imperial Court appeared. At the same time, there were some discussions about this announcement. Wang Xian looked over. Just as expected, the Imperial Court had just released a notice regarding the full artificial intelligence system. The Imperial Court's announcement caused the entire Imperial Star region to boil. The main reason was that as long as one had enough merit points, they could become a disciple of the Imperial Court. In fact, as long as one had enough merit points, they would be able to exchange for many precious treasures that would drive people crazy. The Imperial Dynasty actually opened the Imperial Dynasty Treasury, and as long as one has merits, one can exchange for it. This foundation is truly terrifying. Wang Xian's face was filled with shock. There were thousands of pages of items to be exchanged, and each page contained thousands of treasures. Even Wang Xian was envious of the treasures inside. Other than these treasures, there were cultivation techniques, guidance from experts, and some cultivation treasures that could be exchanged for with merit points. However, although the countless treasures were tempting, many people also realized that the abyss of the Imperial Court was extremely dangerous. Even the imperial court was using such a method to gather experts. One could imagine how dangerous the abyss was. Imperial dynasty's decree will probably attract many experts over, Wang Xian murmured. He gathered all the experts of the Imperial Star region. As long as they killed an abyss seed, they would be rewarded with merits. This was a good opportunity for many people to become famous. Once he made a name for himself here, everyone in the Imperial Star region would know about him. He became famous in one battle. Meritorious deeds and fame were fatally attractive to many experts, even if he knew it would be very dangerous. Dragon King, should we send some experts over? Said Prime Minister Turtle. The Imperial Court's announcement of gathering all the heroes in the world was very attractive to the Dragon Palace. In the Imperial Court, merit points were exchanged with abyss seed crystals. Based on Prime Minister Turtle's calculations, one abyss seed crystal would be slightly higher than the market price. The Dragon Palace could definitely send people over to kill abyss seeds in exchange for merit points and elixirs. Before sending people over, we need to understand a little more, Wang Xian said plainly. He took out the computer and sent a message to Emperor Star Lady. Not long after, the Emperor Star Maiden sent him a long reply. The content was about the current situation over at the Imperial Court. She was currently at the Abyss battlefield between the Imperial Court and the Cold Night Island. As the princess of the Imperial Court, she didn't head to the core battlefield. Instead, she was at a relatively safe place. Based on what she said, the situation over there was a little cruel. It was a fact that an undying god king from the Imperial Court had fallen. Moreover, the Abyss seeds over there were different from the northern battlefront. The Abyss seeds there knew how to create terrains and use the battlefield. They even had unique artifacts. At the entrance of the Abyss, there were all sorts of huge Abyss meteorites floating in the air. These meteorites were extremely tough. There were even some Abyss forests floating in the air. The Abyss seeds used these terrains to expand the Abyss. If they wanted to stop them, they had to enter the Abyss to hunt. After entering, it was hard to say who was the prey and who was the hunter. Therefore, the Imperial Court had suffered huge losses. Based on what Emperor Star Lady knew, the Imperial Court had lost no less than 100,000 Undying God Kings in the 2 months since the war started. This was a huge number. Therefore, facing such losses, the Imperial Court opened the treasury to attract experts from the Imperial Star region to ease the pressure. They know how to create terrains and have already lost no less than 100,000 Undying God King Abyss seeds. How terrifying! Wang Xian's eyes flashed. Under such circumstances, it wasn't worth it for the experts of Dragon Palace to go over, because the Imperial Court didn't have the upper hand in the Abyss War. Even if Dragon Palace combined all their forces, they wouldn't be able to change the situation. Wang Xian, are you coming over? This time, the Imperial Court has promised many benefits. You can bring the experts of Dragon Palace over to take a look. At this moment, Emperor Star Lady sent another message. Should I go over to take a look? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows as he pondered deeply. All right, send me a location. I'll go over to take a look in a few days. After thinking for a while, he decided to go over to the Imperial Court. If the situation wasn't too dangerous, he could call some experts from Dragon Palace over. If the situation was too dangerous, he could lead a few experts to kill some powerful Undying God King Abyss seeds. Killing a few rank 9 Undying God Kings would be a huge boost for Dragon Palace. When Emperor Star Lady heard that Wang Xian was coming, she was overjoyed and immediately sent him a location. Prime Minister Turtle, let Roving Sword bring 2 Dragon Guards and Roving Heavens. I'm preparing to head over to the Imperial Court to take a look. Wang Xian looked at the location sent by Emperor Star Lady and said to Prime Minister Turtle, Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded. Soon, Roving Sword, Roving Heavens, and 2 Dragon Guards walked over. The 2 Dragon Guards had rank 9 Undying God King strength. As for Roving Heavens, he had reached the pinnacle of God King strength. Chapter 2698. Let's go to the Imperial Court. Wang Xian led Roving Heavens and the 3 Dragon Guards to the teleportation formation. Currently, there were only people from Dragon Palace on planet Gudian. On this planet, there was a teleportation formation that led to the Imperial Court. The five of them entered the teleportation formation and disappeared instantly. When they reappeared, they were already on a planet of the Imperial Court. "Welcome to the Imperial Court, heroes." Just as they walked out, a mechanical voice sounded. Wang Xian was taken aback by the voice as he looked around. There was a huge and eye-catching sign in front of him that said, "Welcome to the Imperial Court, heroes of the Imperial Star Domain." Seems like the Imperial Court values the experts from other places in the Imperial Star Domain very much. Wang Xian murmured, "My lords, are you from the Chasm battlefield?" At this moment, a beautiful lady walked over and asked them respectfully, "Yes." Wang Xian nodded. "My lords, we have a special teleportation formation that leads to the Chasm battlefield directly. Please follow me." The beautiful lady led Wang Xian and the rest to the side. "Seems like the Imperial Court is well prepared," Wang Xian said plainly. This planet was only one of the subordinate planets of the Imperial Court. This subordinate planet had a teleportation array that led directly to the battlefield. It was obvious that the Imperial Court had made sufficient preparations to welcome the arrival of the powerful cultivators of the Imperial Star region. "Yes, my lord. Those who came to the Chasm battlefield are the heroes of the Imperial Star Domain. Naturally, the Imperial Court is well prepared. The teleportation formation is just ahead. I wish you all the best in the Chasm battlefield and make a name for yourselves." The beautiful lady bowed and said respectfully, "This is much more convenient." Wang Xian walked towards the teleportation formation directly. He originally thought it would take a few days to get it. It would only take tens of minutes, which was very convenient. The moment he stepped into the teleportation formation, he didn't even have to pay the divine stones. There are so many people. Seems like there are many experts coming to the Chasm battlefield this time. The treasures that the Imperial Court brought out this time are too attractive. Even many undying god kings in seclusion have rushed over. Everyone in the world knows about this battle. I heard that the Imperial Dynasty created a hero ranking, and people are ranked based on merit. This attracted many experts who want to rise up. As long as one accumulates enough merit points, one can join the Imperial Court. Many people want to jump through the Dragon Gate. I heard that Pingy Island's Heavenly Sword King also came. I wonder if it's true. That's a peak undying god king existence. Soon, they heard bustling noises. Wang Xian and the rest appeared in a huge square. This plaza was so big that there was no end to it. The entire planet must have been used as a teleportation formation. In the sky, there were 4 big words, "Heroes Gather." In the surrounding area, there were many more eye-catching buildings. The names of the buildings were all the same. Merit Exchange Office. There are quite a few experts here. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the surroundings and revealed a surprised look. With a glance, there were at least 4,000 to 5,000 undying god kings. Seems like there might be hundreds of thousands, or even more undying god kings attending this hero gathering, he murmured. The Imperial Star Domain was huge. This time, the danger of the abyss mainly came from the Imperial Court and the 3 islands. Other places were not affected. In the boundless Imperial Star Domain, no one knew how many experts were hidden. Not to mention others, there were at least 1 million experts above the God King realm. What the Imperial Court brought out this time was indeed very attractive. "Come, let's go to the planet in front." Wang Xian took a look at the position on the artificial intelligence system. With a swift move, he flew towards the planet ahead. There were hundreds of planets in front of him. These planets were arranged in a row, and experts could be seen flying on them. In front of these hundreds of planets were meteorites of all shapes and sizes, densely packed together. In the depths of the meteorites, roars could be heard. That was the abyss. Within the abyss, there were experts coming in and out from time to time. On this planet, Wang Xian came to the top of a planet and sensed the location of the Dragon Palace members. He immediately flew over. Not long ago, Wang Xian sent an 8th Order Undying God King and 3 7th Order Undying God Kings to follow the Emperor Star Maiden. Wang Xian came to the top of a palace. His yin-yang 5 elements dragon eyes swept across and landed in a large hall. There were over a dozen people in the hall, including the Emperor Star Maiden. He did not greet them. Instead, he moved and landed in front of the hall. His gaze swept across the surroundings, and he immediately walked inside. Inside the hall, there were over a dozen young and middle-aged men sitting there. When they saw Wang Xian suddenly appear, they were slightly stunned. The Emperor's Star Maiden stood up immediately, her face filled with joy. "Who are you?" A young man sized Wang Xian up and asked with a slight frown. "Wang Xian." But at this moment, the Emperor's Star Maiden stood up and walked towards Wang Xian with joy on her face. "How did you get here so quickly?" The Emperor's Star Maiden walked to his side and grabbed his arm. "Your Imperial Court's teleportation formation is quite convenient. I arrived in less than 10 minutes. Wang Xian said indifferently. "Star Maiden, who is he?" In the hall, the crowd was shocked to see Wang Xian. It was especially so for the young man who spoke just now. When he saw the Emperor's Star Maiden holding the arm of a young man intimately, his face turned ugly. He sized Wang Xian up and asked with a gloomy face, "Him?" Seeing the gloomy face of the young man, the Emperor's Star Maiden smirked and said, "My friend. Sorry, my friend is here. I have to entertain him. Brother Fa, Brother Ma, sorry. Let's talk tomorrow." As she spoke, she waved to the few middle-aged men beside her and pulled Wang Xian's arm. "Let's go. I have to entertain you well." Wang Xian looked at her with a smile and followed behind. Behind them, the young man's expression changed as he looked at this scene with uncertainty. The other few middle-aged men looked at Wang Xian with contemplation. After exchanging glances, they left immediately. "Go and find out the identity of that young man." Seeing the Emperor's Star Maiden and Wang Xian disappearing, the young man clenched his fists and shouted to the two middle-aged men beside him, "Yes, young master." The two middle-aged men nodded immediately. "I've just arrived, and you're already using me as a shield. That's not a good idea." Following the Emperor's Star Maiden to a courtyard, Wang Xian smiled and said to her, "That guy is too disgusting. He's not as handsome as you, but he wants to be a toad lusting after a swan." "Humph." The Emperor's Star Maiden lifted her head slightly and snorted. Chapter 2699. Given your identity and strength, there are still people who dare to mess with you? Wang Xian came to a room in the courtyard, sat there, and asked with a smile. Others wouldn't dare, but this guy's identity isn't simple. Emperor's Star Maiden shook her head. "Oh? What identity?" "You're the princess of the current generation of Imperial Court." Wang Xian asked curiously. "That guy's identity is simple too. He's from the Night Clan of Cold Night Island. His father rose in his old age and had a son. He's the current leader of the Night Clan, a pinnacle Undying God King expert. His grandfather is also a pinnacle Undying God King expert. Besides, there's a pinnacle Undying God King old ancestor above him. Right now, the Night Clan is the most powerful force on the Cold Night Island. They can be said to be the strongest force apart from the Imperial Court. As for that young Emperor Yi, no one dares to mess with him on Cold Night Island. He's used to being arrogant. Even I can't go overboard with people like him." Emperor Star Maiden said. There was one more thing she didn't mention. Her father had a pretty good relationship with the Night Clan. Although she didn't acknowledge her father, she was still his daughter in the eyes of the other experts in Imperial Court. "Oh? Night Clan of Cold Night Island, you're looking for trouble." Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and said, "Hee. No matter how powerful the Night Clan is, we still have to see who the handsome guy in front of us is. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace is the leader of the Dragon Palace who defeated the World Edge sect. How can a disciple of the younger generation compare to our Dragon King? Even if our Dragon King killed that young Emperor Yi, would the Night Clan dare to declare war on Dragon Palace? Hee, they wouldn't dare." The Emperor's Star Maiden poured a cup of tea for him and said with a smile, "Hee, more tea." Wang Xian leaned back on the chair, took a sip and said plainly, "All right." Emperor Star Maiden immediately poured more tea with a face full of smiles. Just as Emperor Star Maiden said, no matter how strong that young Emperor Yi was, he was just an eternal godlord. He wasn't on the same level as Wang Xian. The Night Clan was strong, and even had 5 to 6 pinnacle Undying God King experts. But they still had to be cautious against Dragon Palace. If Wang Xian really killed young Emperor Yi, the Night Clan might not dare to declare war on Dragon Palace. After all, once the battle started, it wouldn't just be one or two people who would die. Even the undying God Kings would die in the tens of thousands. World's Edge was a good example. All right, I came here mainly to check out the situation here. If it's not too dangerous, I'm going to hunt down some powerful abyss species and exchange them for some medicinal pills, said Wang Xian to the Emperor's Star Maiden. I've told you everything I know. You can send someone to investigate. The Emperor's Star Maiden sat by the side and took out some food as she spoke to Wang Xian. Yes. Wang Xian nodded his head. Star Lady. At this moment, a voice came from outside. The Emperor's Star Maiden was slightly taken aback when she heard this voice. Senior sister, please come in, she said immediately. Star Lady, there will be a hero gathering in a few days. Let's go there then. This is? Outside, 5 or 6 middle-aged women walked in. As they spoke to the Emperor's Star Maiden, they were taken aback when they saw Wang Xian at the side. Greetings, Dragon King. The few of them obviously knew Wang Xian. They immediately cupped their fists and greeted him respectfully. They are? Wang Xian looked at the Emperor's Star Maiden and asked curiously. Wang Xian, these are the senior sisters from the imperial court. They used to be the princess. In fact, there's a huge gap in our seniority. However, we address each other as senior sisters and junior sisters. I'm currently fighting with a group of senior sisters. They have been taking good care of me. The Emperor's Star Maiden introduced softly to Wang Xian. Nice to meet you. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. Among the 6 women before him, the strongest was a 7th-order undying God King. Each of them looked elegant and dignified, just like the Empress of the Celestial Dynasty. The former princess was also a dazzling existence in the past. The current Emperor's Star Maiden had completely broken away from the circle of her generation. She had formed a circle with the previous princess. With the support of the Dragon Palace and the Astral Beast, the Emperor's Star Maiden with limitless potential was naturally very popular. The previous princess had also taken good care of her. Senior sisters, please take a seat. What's the situation with the hero gathering? Asked the Emperor's Star Maiden as she looked at the 6 of them. Star Maiden, the hero gathering is planned by some experts from the imperial court. It will be held 3 days later. There will be many experts coming over in the next few days. Some experts from the imperial court would like to recruit some experts through this opportunity. Of course, even if it's just a collaboration, it's a great opportunity for some experts from the imperial court. One of the middle-aged women introduced to the Emperor's Star Maiden. The hero gathering was a platform for the experts from the imperial court to interact with the experts from the outside world. If they were lucky, the experts from the imperial court could recruit some experts as their subordinates. Even if they were unlucky, they could still find some experts to work with. Working together to hunt the abyss demons was better than working alone. As for the experts from the outside world, they also hoped to build a relationship with the experts from the imperial court. They also hoped to obtain more information from the experts from the imperial court. Therefore, most of the experts from the outside world would come over. Let's see if we can recruit some subordinates or partners for our team, Feng Bujue said the middle-aged woman. We'll have to take a look then. The Emperor's Star Maiden nodded her head. Given your current fame, I believe many people will be willing to submit to you. However, since the Dragon King is here, it doesn't matter if anyone submits to you. As the middle-aged women spoke, they looked at Wang Xian and chuckled. No way, I have to rely on my own efforts. The Emperor's Star Maiden smiled and shook her head. In that case, we won't disturb you and the Dragon King. The 6 of them chuckled and walked out. How's the harvest? Wang Xian asked the Emperor's Star Maiden as he watched them leave. Hee, not bad. I killed 2 7th-order Immortal King Realm Abyss Demons and 5 6th-order Immortal King Realm Abyss Demons. It's a pity that my battlefield serpent is too big. I basically had to rely on the 4 brothers from the Dragon Palace. The Emperor's Star Maiden said with embarrassment. Although she had gained a lot, she basically watched the 4 members from the Dragon Palace fight from afar. She couldn't get involved at all. Instead, the members of the Dragon Palace had to take care of her and prevent her from being ambushed. Who asked you to be too weak? Just kill some Immortal King Realm Abyss Demons. Don't take the risk. Wang Xian reminded the Emperor's Star Maiden. I know. Don't worry, I know my limits. Are you going to the hero gathering 3 days later? You can just watch the show. The Emperor's Star Maiden asked. I'll see, said Wang Xian. He didn't have much interest in the hero gathering. His main objective these few days was to investigate the situation of the abyss. Chapter 2700. Wang Xian. One of them is Sky Sword King, and the other is One-Armed Blade. The group walked towards the center. The Emperor's Star Maiden saw the two figures in the center and said to Wang Xian, Oh. Wang Xian looked over and saw an old man and a middle-aged man with one arm. The old man looked very ordinary. He did not have the slightest aura, and his might was reserved. The other was a middle-aged man with one arm hugging a huge saber. He stood there expressionlessly and exuded a murderous aura. It would be easy for an expert of such a realm to recover his broken arm. Wang Xian couldn't understand why he hadn't recovered. They were invited by our imperial court and knight clan. The Emperor's Star Maiden said softly. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly at the side. It was impossible for such an expert to come without an invitation or enticement. Over here. At this moment, a senior sister of the Emperor's Star Maiden stopped and said to them. They stopped. That former princess waved her arm and a message floated beside them. A team formed by 7 princesses of the imperial court. The strongest is an undying god king with a rank 8 combat strength, 8 rank 7 combat strength, 15 rank 6 combat strength. Now recruiting heroes. Experts can cooperate with each other. A slightly vulgar message floated in the air. However, it was the same everywhere, displaying the strength of their team to attract experts to join them. Wang Xian looked around and saw many teams formed by imperial court experts recruiting their subordinates and partners in the same way. The team led by the Emperor's Star Maiden was considered one of the stronger ones. The 7 princesses represented the strongest women of the imperial court in 7 generations. Their arrival attracted many people's attention. Star Maiden, let Lily and the rest stay here. We'll look for some experts and invite them to join us. One of the princesses said to the Emperor's Star Maiden. All right. The Emperor's Star Maiden nodded. A portion of them waited for experts to arrive while they took the initiative to recruit some. Wang Xian followed by the side and looked around. The variety of experts from the Imperial Star Domain was an eye-opener for Wang Xian. Everyone, are you interested in joining our team? Soon, the Emperor's Star Maiden and the rest found a target. 5 of them exuded the aura of an undying god king at rank 5 or rank 6. Seeing the 5 of them, the Emperor's Star Maiden and the other princesses went up and tried to recruit them. Wang Xian took a glance before continuing to look around. What kind of existence is that? At this moment, Wang Xian was attracted by a group of heavenly demons. These creatures should be considered as heavenly demons. The reason why he used probably was because that group of sky demons was simply too strange. It had black skin, a humanoid shape, and blood-red eyes. It had a row of huge white teeth, and its mouth took up half of its head. 3 to 4 meters wasn't very big. Their bodies were like liquid. The most attractive thing about them was the dense aura coming from their bodies. The space around them seemed to be corroding. This is poison liquid, an extremely unique race that lives within the poison sea. To think that this race would be here as well. Venom belongs to a special race in the Imperial Star region. The liquid in their bodies is poison. Based on how much poison they have, we can determine their strength. The more poison they absorb, the stronger they become. However, creatures like Venom do not seem to be too strong. Voices of conversation could be heard from the side. Venom? Aquatic creatures? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. He was curious about this marine species. Suddenly, Wang Xian's eyes fell on the back of the group of Venom. There were more than 50 venomous liquids, and in the last position, there was one that was relatively short. He was the size of an ordinary human, less than 2 meters tall. However, his body was darker and emitted a corrosive smell. The smell on his body was slightly unpleasant. Moreover, he was 5 meters away from the rest of the venom. With every step he took, he would leave a trace of corrosion. What attracted Wang Xian's attention was the position in front of his chest. There was a strange thing on his chest. It was different from the other venom. The other venom had nothing special on their chest, but his chest had a body that looked like the tail of an insect. This body that looked like the tail of an insect grew abruptly in front of his chest. It looked very strange. However, the body that had half a tail gave Wang Xian a very familiar feeling. In fact, it even had a strong attraction. This made his eyes shine. What a surprise! He raised his eyebrows and walked towards the group of venom. Just as Wang Xian walked towards the group of venom, a young man not far away saw Wang Xian walking towards the group of venom while staring at the Emperor's Star Maiden. Haven't found any information about him? The young man, young Emperor Yi, frowned and asked a middle-aged man beside him, "Young master, we haven't found anything yet. He shouldn't be from the imperial court. We, trash." As the middle-aged man spoke, Yi Shaohuang interrupted him with a cold expression. Is he trying to recruit the venom race? Young Emperor Yi raised his eyebrows when he saw Wang Xian walking to the front of the group of venom. Young master, the venom race is too poisonous. They might accidentally injure their comrades in battle. Normally, no experts would be willing to fight alongside them. The middle-aged man beside him said, "Let's go over." His lips curled as he looked at the Emperor's Star Maiden before turning to the group of venom. Everyone. Wang Xian walked up to the front of the group of venom. He shifted his gaze from the special venom to the leader. You're a disciple of the Imperial Court? If you want to recruit us, please call for the experts from the Imperial Court. The leader of the venom race said straightforwardly when he saw Wang Xian walking in front of them. I'm not a disciple of the Imperial Court. Wang Xian shook his head. With a gentle wave of his arm, a surge of energy stirred the black liquid on his body. The leader of the venom race had a slight change in his expression as fear flashed in his eyes. Sir, may I know who you are? The leader of the venom race asked respectfully. I'm here to recruit you. Wang Xian looked at them and said directly when he saw the special venom at the back. The leader of the venom race was taken aback. Our Night Clan would also like to recruit you guys from the venom race. At this moment, a voice came from the side. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and looked to the side. When he saw the young man, he revealed a smile. Night Clan. The leader of the venom race was taken aback as he sized up young Emperor Yi. Our young master is called young Emperor Yi. It's your honor to recruit you guys. A middle-aged man behind young Emperor Yi said plainly. Young Emperor Yi, who was standing at the front, lifted his head slightly with a proud look on his face. Chapter 2701. Wang Xian. The two in front are Sky Sword King and One-Armed Blade. The group walked towards the center. Emperor Star Maiden saw the two figures in the center and said to Wang Xian, "Oh." Wang Xian looked over and saw an old man and a middle-aged man with one arm. The old man looked very ordinary. He did not have the slightest aura, and his might was reserved. The other middle-aged man held a huge saber in one arm and stood there expressionlessly. He exuded a murderous aura. It would be easy for an expert of such a realm to recover his broken arm. Wang Xian couldn't understand why he hadn't recovered. They were invited by our Imperial Court and Night Clan. Emperor Star Maiden said softly. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly at the side. It was impossible for such an expert to come without an invitation or enticement. Over here. At this moment, a senior sister of Emperor Star Maiden stopped and said to them. They stopped. That former princess waved her arm and a message floated beside them. A team formed by 7 princesses of the Imperial Court. The strongest expert is an undying god king with a rank 8 combat strength, 8 rank 7 combat strength, 15 rank 6 combat strength. Now recruiting heroes. Experts can work together. A slightly vulgar message floated in the air. However, it was the same everywhere else, displaying the strength of their team to attract experts to join them. Wang Xian looked around and saw many teams formed by Imperial Court experts recruiting their subordinates and partners in the same way. Emperor Star Maiden's team was considered one of the stronger ones. The 7 princesses represented the strongest women of the Imperial Court in 7 generations. Their arrival attracted many people's attention. Star Maiden, let Lily and the rest stay here. We'll look for some experts to invite them to join us. A princess said to Emperor Star Maiden. All right. Emperor Star Maiden nodded. A portion of them waited for experts to arrive while they took the initiative to recruit some. Wang Xian followed by the side and looked around. The variety of experts from the Imperial Star Domain was an eye-opener for Wang Xian. Everyone, are you interested in joining our team? Soon, Emperor Star Maiden and the rest found a target. 5 of them exuded the aura of an undying god king at rank 5 or rank 6. Seeing the 5 of them, Emperor Star Maiden and that princess went up and tried to recruit them. Wang Xian took a look before continuing to look around. What kind of existence is that? At this moment, Wang Xian was attracted by a group of heavenly demons. These creatures should be considered as heavenly demons. The reason why he used probably was because that group of sky demons was simply too strange. It had black skin and a humanoid shape. Its eyes were blood red, and it had a row of huge white teeth. Its mouth took up half of its head. 3 to 4 meters wasn't very big. Their bodies were like liquid. The most attractive thing about them was the dense aura coming from their bodies. The space around them seemed to be corroding. This is poison liquid, an extremely unique race that lives within the poison sea. To think that this race would be here as well. Venom belongs to a special race in the Imperial Star region. The liquid in their bodies is poison. Based on how much poison they have, we can determine their strength. The more poison they absorb, the stronger they become. However, creatures like Venom do not seem to be too strong. Voices of conversation could be heard from the side. Venom? Aquatic creatures? Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. He was curious about this marine species. Suddenly, Wang Xian's eyes fell on the back of the group of Venom. There were more than 50 venomous liquids, and in the last position, there was one that was relatively short in size. He was the size of an ordinary human, less than 2 meters tall. However, his body was darker and emitted a corrosive smell. The smell on his body was slightly unpleasant. Moreover, he was 5 meters away from the rest of the Venom. Every step he took left a trail of corrosion under his feet. What attracted Wang Xian's attention was the position in front of his chest. There was a strange thing on his chest. It was different from the other Venom. The other Venom had nothing special on their chest. However, his chest had a body that looked like the tail of an insect. This body that looked like the tail of an insect grew abruptly in front of his chest. It looked very strange. However, the body that had half a tail gave Wang Xian a very familiar feeling. In fact, it even had a strong attraction. This made his eyes shine. What a surprise. He raised his eyebrows and walked towards the group of Venom. Just as Wang Xian walked towards the group of Venom, a young man not far away saw Wang Xian walking towards the group of Venom while staring at the Emperor's Star Maiden. Haven't found any information about him? The young man, young Emperor Yi, frowned and asked a middle-aged man beside him, Young master, we haven't found anything yet. He shouldn't be from the imperial court. Trash. As the middle-aged man spoke, Yi Xiaohuang interrupted him with a cold expression. Is he trying to recruit the Venom race? Young Emperor Yi raised his eyebrows when he saw Wang Xian walking to the front of the group of Venom. Young master, the Venom race is too poisonous. They might accidentally injure their comrades in battle. Normally, no experts would be willing to fight alongside them. The middle-aged man beside him said, Let's go over. The corner of his lips arched. He took a look at the Emperor's Star Maiden before turning to the group of Venom. Everyone. Wang Xian walked up to the front of the group of Venom. He shifted his gaze from the special Venom to the leader. You're a disciple of the Imperial Court? If you want to recruit us, please call for the experts from the Imperial Court. The leader of the Venom race said straightforwardly when he saw Wang Xian walking in front of them. I'm not a disciple of the Imperial Court. Wang Xian shook his head. With a gentle wave of his arm, a surge of energy stirred the black liquid on his body. The expression of the leader of the Venom race changed slightly as fear flashed in his eyes. Sir, may I know who you are? The leader of the Venom race immediately asked respectfully, Recruiting you guys. Wang Xian looked at them and said directly when he saw the special Venom at the back. The leader of the Venom race was taken aback. Our Night Clan would also like to recruit you guys from the Venom race. At this moment, a voice came from the side. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and looked to the side. When he saw the young man, he revealed a smile. Night Clan. The leader of the Venom race was taken aback as he sized up young Emperor Yi. Our young master is called young Emperor Yi. It's your honor to recruit you guys. A middle-aged man behind young Emperor Yi said plainly. Young Emperor Yi, who was standing in front, lifted his head slightly with a proud look on his face. Chapter 2702. There was no pop-up window for free reading. Leader. This young man seems to be the young master of the Night Clan. One of the venomous liquids beside the leader looked at young Emperor Yi and said respectfully. The Night Clan occupied more than half of the Cold Night Island. The ancestor of the Night Clan, Yilong, was once a Void God Emperor expert in the Imperial Star region. Even after his fall, the Night Clan was still extremely powerful. This was the border between the central region of the Imperial Court and the Cold Night Island. Naturally, there would be experts from the Cold Night Island at the Heroes Gathering this time. The young master of the Night Clan could be said to be the second generation with the most authority in the entire Imperial Star region. Even the princes and princesses of the Imperial Court might not be as high as young Emperor Yi. After all, his father, grandfather, and an old ancestor were all peak Immortal God King experts. Moreover, the relationship between the Imperial Court and the Night Clan was rather good. Some of the Divine King experts of the Imperial Court were also polite to young Emperor Yi. Follow me. Follow me into battle. I will treat you like a talent recruitment event in the Imperial Star region. If you feel that you can't do it in the future, you can leave. Young Emperor Yi said plainly to the leader of the venomous liquids. It's our honor to follow young Master Yi. The leader of the venomous liquids was relieved when he heard young Emperor Yi and replied respectfully. Hee, great. Young Emperor Yi squinted his eyes and arched his lips as he looked at Wang Xian. Wang Xian smiled in disdain and ignored him. He walked straight to the special liquids at the back. Huh. The venomous liquids looked around warily. When he saw Wang Xian walking over, he shrank back and stared at him. Are you interested in following me? Wang Xian lifted his hand slowly and placed it on his shoulder. When the special liquids saw Wang Xian's palm, they instinctively retreated. However, Wang Xian's palm still landed on his shoulder. A majestic voice rang in his mind, making him shudder. A look of terror appeared on his face. I can help you solve your physical problems. Wang Xian looked at him, and the voice rang in his mind again. You can. He opened his mouth with a hideous look. However, his eyes were filled with excitement. As long as you can solve my physical problems, I'm willing to follow you. I'm willing. The mysterious venom immediately bowed down to Wang Xian. Evidently, his strange body had brought him great trouble. All right, follow me. Wang Xian smiled. Yes, sir. He nodded immediately. Stop. At the front, when young Emperor Yi saw Wang Xian taking away a poisonous liquid, he was shocked and cold. He immediately shouted loudly. Young Master Yi, if he wants to take that trash away, then let him. It's better for this trash to leave. It will save us a lot of trouble. Upon seeing this scene, the Venom leader said to Yi Xiaohuang, Young Master, Du Jiu is just a piece of trash. The toxins in his body are messy, and sometimes he can't even control them. His brain is not normal either. It would be better if he left. Venom, who was at the side, chimed in with a smile. Even if he's a piece of trash, he's still a member of Venom. Since I've recruited him, he must come with me. Not a single one can be missing. When young Emperor Yi heard their words, there was not the slightest change in his expression. He only wanted to recruit this group of Venom to give a warning to a person, not to actually recruit this group of Venom. He didn't care if Venom was a piece of trash. What he cared about was to let that guy know his prowess. He wanted him to back off in the face of difficulties. Yes. Since young Master Yi said so, let him follow. The Venom leader nodded immediately. The strongest among them was only a fourth-order Immortal God King. Naturally, they wanted to get on young Master Ye's good side. Du Jiu, get back here and follow young Master Yi. It's your honor that young Master Yi is willing to take you in. The Venom leader looked at Du Jiu and shouted coldly, I. When Dujio heard the Venom leader, his expression changed slightly. If you want to follow me, ignore them. Wang Xian looked at Dujio and said, Sir, I want to follow you. I want you to help me solve the problem with my body. Dujio clenched his fist and said softly, All right, follow me and you'll be fine. Wang Xian nodded plainly. Dujio, why are you still standing there? Get over here. When the Venom leader saw that Dujio ignored him, his expression darkened and he roared. Shut up. He will follow me from now on and has nothing to do with your Venom clan. Wang Xian looked at the Venom leader and said plainly, Dujio is one of us. Don't you think it's inappropriate for you to behave like this? When the Venom leader heard Wang Xian, his expression changed and he said in a low voice, There's nothing inappropriate about it. Dujio volunteered. Wang Xian said expressionlessly, How dare you snatch someone recruited by me, young Master Yi? When young Master Yi saw that Wang Xian insisted on taking the mysterious venom away, he squinted his eyes and took a step forward. Let's go. Wang Xian looked at him with disdain and said to Dujio. Dujio nodded and followed behind. Snatch someone? Stop him. When young Master Yi saw that Wang Xian ignored him, his expression turned cold and he shouted, Dujio, stop right there. The Venom leader and the rest of the Venom clan took a few steps forward and shouted at Dujio. Rumble. Wang Xian swept a glance at them and an imposing aura shrouded them. The Venom leader and the rest were shocked and found it difficult to breathe. Young Master, he's an expert. Behind young Master Yi, the two middle-aged men were shocked and said, Expert? How dare you snatch someone in the imperial court? You're courting death. Stop him. He looked at Wang Xian with a slight change in his expression and spoke coldly. Rumble. The two middle-aged men moved and came before Wang Xian in an instant. They stared at him coldly. Return the person of our young master immediately. Otherwise, don't blame us for being rude. One of the middle-aged men fixed his eyes on Wang Xian and said sternly. Dujio, who was standing at the side, had a huge change in his expression as he retreated back in fear. What's happening? What's this for? Someone dares to create trouble here. How many lives does he have? What's going on? That looks like an expert from the Night Clan. Who is that? The young master of the Night Clan. At this time, the commotion over at Wang Xian's side attracted the attention of many experts. They belonged to the central region and 90% of the people here were divine kings. Everyone could sense the imposing aura from an expert. Some people looked over and their faces were filled with surprise. Chapter 2703. Some of them had heard of the young master of the Yi clan even if they hadn't seen him before. Now that he seemed to be in conflict with someone, their faces were filled with astonishment. Who would dare to offend the young master of the Yi clan? Who's that young man? I don't know him. He looks unfamiliar. Is he a disciple of the imperial court? Even an ordinary disciple of the imperial court wouldn't dare to offend the young master of the Yi clan. Some of them fixed their gazes on Wang Xian with curiosity on their faces. Wang Xian? Dragon King? When the Emperor Star Maiden and the others saw this, they all had astonished looks on their faces. Emperor Star Maiden frowned as she looked at young Emperor Yi. She walked over hurriedly. This is the heroes gathering organized by the experts of the imperial court. I don't want to cause trouble here, but no one can offend me either. That member of Venom is already my subordinate. Send him over immediately. Otherwise, Seeing that he had attracted the attention of the surrounding people, young Emperor Yi raised his eyebrows and warned Wang Xian. At the same time, he was telling the experts of the imperial court that he wasn't the one causing trouble here. Someone was trying to snatch his man. Otherwise what? A brat who hasn't even reached the divine king realm dares to say such words to my master? But just as he finished his sentence, a bone-chilling voice sounded. Young Emperor Yi felt a chill run down his spine, and a cold aura gushed out from the bottom of his heart. Who's that? The two middle-aged men beside him were shocked as they looked to the side. Beishuang, you're here too? However, Wang Xian, who was seated at the side, heard the voice. He looked over and asked with a smile. Yes, master. I'm here to train myself and obtain some treasures. Bei Shuang walked over and said to Wang Xian. She turned to young Emperor Yi and said, "A piece of trash who only relies on his family dares to offend experts? Aren't you afraid of death? You're courting death. Who are you?" Young Emperor Yi was infuriated when he heard Bei Shuang. "That's the frost goddess. That girl is the frost goddess. That's right. That's her. She was the frost goddess. A few years ago, she became the disciple of the Dragon King. She's already an 8th Order Immortal King at the age of 30,000. That goddess of frost just addressed that young man as master. Doesn't that mean he's the Dragon King?" "Hiss, so young this?" Yi Xiaohuang questioned Bei Shuang's order. Some people in the surroundings looked at Bei Shuang and were quickly recognized. All of them were surprised. The expressions of young Emperor Yi and his 2 middle-aged men changed greatly after hearing this. "Wang Xian, what happened? What is young Emperor Yi doing?" At this time, Emperor Star Maiden and the rest also walked over. She glanced at young Emperor Yi before coming to the front of Wang Xian. Dragon King, Princess, who was standing beside him, greeted Wang Xian respectfully. "It's nothing. I saw a good seedling and was about to bring him into the Dragon Palace. But some small fry tried to stop me." "Interesting." Wang Xian shook his head plainly as his gaze fell upon young Emperor Yi. "It seems like this young master of the Night Clan lacks upbringing. He should know how high the sky is and how thick the earth is," he said faintly. Wang Xian's words almost made young Emperor Yi vomit blood. His expression changed drastically as he clenched his fists tightly. "Young master, it's the Dragon King." The 2 middle-aged men beside him broke out in cold sweat as they transmitted their voices. Huff huff. He took a deep breath, and his expression changed. "This, Dragon Palace, Dragon King." At the side, the leader of Venom and his clansmen widened their eyes in shock. They naturally knew the weight of the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace was well known in the Imperial Star region. Not long ago, they defeated the Sky Edge sect and forced them to flee. The prestige of the Dragon Palace spread throughout the Imperial Star region. How strong would a force that could defeat the Sky Edge sect be? They might not be as strong as the Night Clan, but the young master of the Night Clan wanted to compete with the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace? It was no exaggeration to say that he was not worthy at all. A divine master and a pinnacle expert. There was no comparison. "I should have known." The leader of Venom and the rest felt a little gloomy when they recalled that the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace had personally recruited them. They had chosen young Emperor Yi and even had a conflict with the Dragon King. The Dragon King had taken a liking to Du Jiu. That guy, who was trash to them, was said to be a good seedling by the Dragon King. Dragon King. Du Jiu, who was standing behind Wang Xian, shivered as he stared in disbelief at the figure in front of him. The leader of a large sect had taken a liking to him? It's really the Dragon King. I didn't expect the Dragon King to be here. SSS, that's the leader of a force. I heard that the Dragon Palace is the strongest on the Demon Island. This young Emperor Yi offended the Dragon King and even scolded him just now? When the surrounding people saw the Emperor Star Princess and the rest walking over, they could confirm Wang Xian's identity from the way the Emperor Star Princess addressed Wang Xian. Everyone was shocked as they discussed softly. Not far away, even the 2 guardians of the Imperial Court, One-Armed Blade and the Sky Sword King, looked over in surprise. "Let's go." Young Emperor Yi shivered as he heard the discussion around him. He said with a gloomy face, "Did I say you can leave?" Wang Xian said plainly as he watched him leave. Young Emperor Ye's expression changed and the 2 guardians narrowed their eyes. "Dragon King, what do you want? Does the Dragon Palace want to be the enemy of the Night Clan?" His body shivered as he gritted his teeth, turned around and stared at Wang Xian as he growled. "If you can represent the Night Clan, sure." When Wang Xian heard this, he squinted his eyes and replied with a cold tone. Swoosh. When Wang Xian finished his words, everyone's expression changed. Is this young Emperor Yi tired of living? How dare he threaten the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace? This young Emperor Yi must be out of his mind. How dare he say such words? Does he think he's the pinnacle expert of the Night Clan? A few experts from the Imperial Court frowned slightly and spoke without hiding anything at all. To them, Young Emperor Ye's words were no different from an idiot. Young Emperor Yi, think before you speak. Look at who you're talking to. The princess standing beside the Emperor's star maiden mocked without any hesitation. Perhaps he was used to being arrogant and thought that his identity was noble. But you should also look at who you're talking to. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace was the leader of a powerful sect. You're just a disciple of the Divine Master level. Even if you have a strong background and your father and grandfather are at the pinnacle of the Divine King level, that's not you. How could the dignity of an expert be challenged so easily? The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace would send experts of the Dragon Palace to find a chance to kill you. What could the Night Clan do to the Dragon Palace without any evidence? Start a war just for one person. Chapter 2704. There was no pop-up window for free reading. In the hero's venue, young Emperor Yi turned pale when he heard the voices around him. The experts from the imperial court, Emperor Star Maiden, and the princess beside her were all core figures of the imperial court. They could either give young Emperor Yi face or slap him in the face on the spot. After all, the imperial court was invincible in terms of background. It wasn't that they didn't give young Emperor Yi face, but that young Emperor Yi was too stupid. In this world, it was still the strong who were respected. If you offended an expert, you wouldn't be able to do anything if that expert found a chance to kill you. Moreover, young Emperor Yi offended the Dragon King of Dragon Palace, the leader of a powerful force. Dragon King, we are in the wrong. Our young master is in the wrong. Please forgive us. When the two middle-aged men beside young Emperor Yi witnessed the situation, they bowed to Wang Xian with grim expressions. Young Emperor Yi stood there with an awful look. Hee, ignorant. Kneel down. When Wang Xian saw young Emperor Yi standing there motionlessly, his aura shook slightly. Plop. Young Emperor Yi's expression changed as he knelt on the ground with a loud thud. His expression changed drastically. He wanted to speak, but was forced to hold it in. Young Emperor, apologize to the Dragon King now. At this moment, a voice came from the side. An old man and a few middle-aged men walked over. The old man looked at young Emperor Yi with a slight frown and said, Elder. Young Emperor Yi looked over and opened his mouth. Dragon King, our disciple from the Yi clan has offended you. I'll ask him to apologize to you immediately. Please give us some face. The old man cupped his fist and said to Wang Xian, Sure, we still have to give face to the Yi clan. Wang Xian looked at the old man and said plainly before turning to young Emperor Yi, Dragon King, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. Young Emperor Yi lowered his head as he felt the gaze of Wang Xian and the elder of the Yi clan. His body trembled as he apologized. Wang Xian nodded plainly and looked to Bei Shuang. Are you looking for a team? He asked directly. Yes, master. I came here to take a look. If there's a suitable team, I'll join. Bei Shuang nodded. Then let's go together with the Emperor's Star Maiden and the others. Wang Xian looked at the Emperor's Star Maiden and spoke to her. Yes, master. Bei Shuang nodded. When young Emperor Yi saw that Wang Xian wasn't paying attention to him, he stood up with an awful expression and walked out. Around him, some people looked at him with mockery and disdain. Wow, is Sister Bei Shuang coming with us? That's wonderful. Wang Xian, you were too domineering just now. You asked him to kneel, and he had to kneel. Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, the Emperor's Star Maiden replied happily. She looked at Yi Shaohuang's disheveled back and the smile on her face deepened. Let North Frost go with you. I'll leave a dragon guard behind to protect you later. He won't participate in your battle in the abyss. Wang Xian smiled. As for young Emperor Yi, Wang Xian did not care about him at all. An eternal divine lord young man, even if he was the young master of the Night Clan, was not qualified to be presumptuous in front of him. Given the current status of the Dragon Palace, only the leader of the Night Clan, the guardians of the imperial court, and the Laozu of the other sects could talk to Wang Xian on equal footing. Even the experts of the Night Clan would not say anything if such a small fry offended him, because he was not qualified. He was courting death. Ah, you're leaving? The Emperor's Star Maiden looked at him with slight disappointment. Yeah, I'm going back for now. Be careful here, and don't take too many risks. Wang Xian reminded her and Bei Shuang. Yes, master. Bei Shuang nodded immediately. All right, I'll go back first. I'll leave a dragon guard at your place and bring him along when we go out, said Wang Xian to them as he looked at Du Jio beside him. Let's go. I'll bring you to the Dragon Palace. From now on, you'll be a member of the Dragon Palace. He patted Du Jio's shoulder and said, Dragon King. I. Du Jio stood there with a face full of excitement, not knowing what to do. Thank you, Dragon King. Your future will be beyond your imagination, he said with a smile and walked straight outside. Du Jio quickly followed behind him. Du Jio was brought back to the Dragon Palace by the Dragon King personally. The leader of Venom stared blankly at the departing Du Jio. His expression changed and revealed an envious look. If they had agreed just now, would they have been able to join the Dragon Palace? Leaving just like that? Humph! The Emperor's Star Maiden snorted in dissatisfaction when she saw Wang Xian leaving. Star Maiden, the Dragon King said to leave a dragon guard behind to protect you. His strength. At this time, the Emperor's Star Maiden looked at the Emperor's Star Maiden and asked with anticipation. I don't know how strong he is, but since he said that he won't participate in the battle and will only protect us, he should be at least level 8. The Emperor's Star Maiden shook her head. Level 9. Bei Shuang spoke up. She had some understanding of her master's character. To protect them, she was also included. The Emperor's Star Maiden was only a level 9 Immortal God King. The Emperor's Star Maiden's eyes gleamed with excitement. Although they weren't protecting her, they were indirectly protecting them by fighting alongside the Emperor's Star Maiden and Bei Shuang. In the upcoming battle, their safety would be greatly guaranteed. After all, no one in the entire imperial court had such treatment. Even young Emperor Yi of the Night Clan only had 2 level 8 Immortal God King protecting him. At least he has a conscience. Let's go, Sister Bei Shuang. I'll introduce you to some people. With you joining us, our team will be much stronger. The Emperor's Star Maiden held Bei Shuang's arm happily as they walked to the side. Bei Shuang smiled and followed by the side. Dragon King, are we going back now? Aren't we going to continue observing? Roving Heavens asked Wang Xian on the teleportation planet. I found a special talent. Let's go back and take a look. Wang Xian looked at Du Jio and smiled. Oh. Roving Heavens, Roving Sword, and the rest looked at Venom and raised their eyebrows. Let's go. Wang Xian entered the teleportation array and rushed towards the Dragon Palace. After a transfer, they arrived at the Dragon Palace in no time. Du Jio, come over. In a flash, he brought Du Jio to the dragon transformation pool. His eyes landed on the tail of the insect queen on Du Jio's chest as he revealed a smile. How did the body of this insect queen enter your chest? Wang Xian asked Du Jio. Dragon King. I suddenly absorbed this thing when I was absorbing the poison. After I absorbed it, I realized it was growing on my body. I was terrified at that time. Later on, various blurry images would appear in my mind, causing me to lose my mind. Du Jio quickly explained, you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.